Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to the line. Oh, the music's doing a weird thing. I think Lux is like on that level and just kind of up and down with it. Hey, everyone, how are we doing all tonight? My name is Eric, and my co-host tonight is Ian here on the line. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Ian. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
That is great. Yeah, I'm doing excellent myself. We just finished. Well, I just finished just 3 hours ago the normal Sunday show with Jovan, and I had a little bit of a rest, and now I'm here. Hopefully, I got something left in the tank still after another round of calls. But no, I'm doing pretty well. It's been quite the day. Anyway, folks in the audience, like I said, welcome. This is the Line Sunday show after dark. We are two atheists. We fancy ourselves as rational thinkers. I think we both fancy ourselves as truth seekers. And we don't believe in God. And so what we like to do is on the Sunday show, we like to have believers call in and basically make their case for why they think that theism is true. And if you're such a person who's inclined to speak to us about that, you can call in the number right below on the screen, 720-619-2288. And, we're kind of like a US-based show. We get mostly US callers. So we usually expect Christians, but if you're Jewish or Muslim or some other flavor of theism, feel free to call on in. Especially if you're Christian, you can, take the admonishment at 1 Peter 3:15 and give us a reason for the faith that you hold. Or if you want to fly the other way, go with Mark 13:11 and don't worry beforehand about what to say. Just say whatever's given to you at the time, because it's not you speaking, but the Holy Spirit. So call on in and use either of those, and we'll hopefully have a nice conversation. Anyway, we have no one in the queue right now. And so I guess, hey, Ian, this is the first time we've hosted together. I'm really excited because I've watched your channel, I think now for at least a few months, and I like it quite a lot. Do you want to tell the folks in the audience what your channel is all about and what you do?
Yeah, I debate God. God is like the primary topic that I debate, God's existence. I'm an atheist, obviously. Wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But I like approaching things from more of a philosophical point of view. I think that academic philosophy, I think that there's been a mistake that a lot of people have made, that they've ceded philosophy to the Christians. They've seen philosophy as like a Christian thing to do, or like a religious thing to do. And I think that's unwise. I think that, in fact, philosophy is like another angle of attack against theists, because their philosophy is totally indefensible. The majority of philosophers, like academic philosophers, are actually atheist, and there's good reason for that. There's a long history of critiques of God's existence that stretch throughout the philosophical literature. So I'm very interested in academic philosophy. I read a lot of academic philosophy, and I like bringing those arguments to debates.
Yeah, and you do an excellent job of that too, because I do really appreciate when I watch your streams. I do really appreciate how when you bring somebody up and you're asking them, okay, what is the reason you believe in a God? You tend to direct it towards just a logical syllogism form with premises and then an ultimate conclusion. And then we analyze whether that syllogism is valid and whether that syllogism is sound. And sure, you can come up with all kinds of valid syllogisms for an argument for God, but the real crux of the matter is it sound? Like, are the premises actually true? If you do get to that point. I've seen definitely several of your callers, and we even had a call earlier tonight, or rather previously on the last stream that I was on, attempted to construct a syllogism, and the conclusion was God is real, but his first three premises was just, if God is real, then X, if God is real, just Y, if God is real, just Z, and just like, okay, well, this is all great and all, but how do we know that God is real? Because he's just talking about if he is real constantly. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really fun to try to direct Christians and believers into doing that, because I think Christianity and apologetics really thrive in kind of the murkiness of complex thinking. It's really hard to like take a moment, organize your thoughts, formalize them into premises or into arguments, and build up your belief in a God that way. It's usually, okay, we're just going to kind of like deal with this more in an oral, verbal way, and then that's a way for like fallacies to sneak in, bad thinking, muddying the waters, conflation of terms. And a lot of believers justify their belief using that type of strategy. But once you like stop it and say, okay, well, hold on, let's do this in a more formalized manner and actually see if there's something here. I've never seen it pan out very well for the believer. So it's a great way of doing it, because it really shows that, hey, you know, maybe you don't have a good reason to believe. You know, it may hopefully puts that idea in their head. But I like straight epistemology myself, so I really like analyzing, okay, your confidence level in your truth statements, why you have such high confidence, analyzing it, asking questions, seeing if maybe some of your justifications aren't so great. And then what happens to your confidence level after that? Does it go down? Are you being honest with your beliefs, or do your confidence level stay the same and you're not quite handling your beliefs honestly? So all kinds of fun stuff you can do there. But what we got here? Oh, well, hey, we have one caller in the queue, and it's somebody we know. So
Yeah,
I'm go
we
ahead
have a
and
special guest.
Going ahead and bringing up Matt Dillahunty. Am I reading that right?
I think you are, yes.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm driving back from NanoCon, and I'm about to stop and go to bed. But I'm going to listen for like the next hour. So you guys need to get calls in and be excited and happy. But I was going to mention that NanoCon went incredibly smoothly. It was a great time.
Awesome.
My part, the magic show, was probably the weakest element. But Fish Stark from American Humanist was there, talking about electoral wins and progress. Monty Mader was there. I finally got to meet her. We actually did a panel together this morning. Hemet Mehta was there, who talked about some absolute wild stories of what the Justice Department did and didn't do, and how they ended up getting in trouble for legitimately protecting people from individuals who happened to be Catholic, but were also nuts and seeking violence. And because they were investigating Catholics, the right wing went after the Justice Department for daring to go after Catholics. Lots of great talks. Just Mandisa was there. Daryl Ray was there from both Recovering from Religion and the New Secular Leadership Organization. Had a great time, and I'm going to drive back in over 2 days instead of one.
Oof. Yeah, that's quite the trek. NanoCon was in Nashville, Tennessee this year?
That's correct. Just outside of Nashville,
Okay.
to Montgomery Bell State Park.
Okay, yeah, that's quite the trek back to Texas. So, well,
Yeah, that is quite a long drive, but it sounds like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really good. I drove 14 hours and then unloaded the truck and then set up all the magic stuff and then tried to get 2 hours of rehearsal in before the show. Didn't really get to, so I screwed up about 8 things, but I think the audience only noticed that I screwed up 2 things, and we just joked about it. But I had so much fun, and everybody there seemed to have a good time. Some folks were wowed by some stuff, and I got to talk to a couple other magicians who were there. But mainly, it's just, you know, I've been to NanoCon several times. The people who run it are great. It's one of my favorite cons. And I just figured, if you missed out, get ready, because there will be more NanoCon.
that's great. Really glad to hear that.
Sounds like a lot of fun. It's too bad. I should have gone.
Yeah. I'm making arrangements to go to Rocket City ReasonCon in October, but yeah, I heard about NanoCon a little bit too late this year, and but I probably want to try to go next time. But yeah, Matt, thank you so much for that update. That's really great. I really hope you you drive.
And
Go ahead.
no, I was going to say Arden's going to be at Rocket City Reason as well.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I'm going, but Arden will be there, and so y'all get to hang out, and I will take care of all the animals. But yeah, I'm pulling over to rest area in 45 minutes, so start taking calls and be loud and exciting and get my blood pumping so that I'm awake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, folks in the audience, you heard it. It's up to us to keep Matt awake and driving. So hit the thumbs up button, light up the chat, get the algorithm moving. Let's get some people in here and get them talking. So I think Matt disconnected. So Matt, safe journeys, my friend. And yeah, hopefully you have a pleasant drive the rest of the evening and find a nice cozy motel and just like take it easy for the evening. So anyway, yeah, we only have one person in the queue so far, and that person's an atheist, which we'll bring Ruby up here in a moment. But yeah, Christians in the chat, anybody who's listening who's a theist, calling up, let's talk. I think Ian and I are fairly tame when it comes to this kind of stuff. Just you know, kind of what's going to get our goat is if you do things like, I don't know, defend atrocities in the Bible, things like slavery or genocide, that kind of might ruffle our feathers a little bit. But I guess, let's put it this way. If you're a Christian in the audience or a Muslim or a Jew in the audience, like, and you have this faith, ask yourself, is my faith actually true? Can I actually show it? Is it rigid enough to be put up to the test and survive? And if you think that that's the case, then come and demonstrate it, because best case scenario, you're going to strengthen your own faith. And hey, you might actually convince me and Ian to head towards your position a little bit if your argument's good enough.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, go ahead, Ian. Yeah.
I was just going to say, there's also 1,000 people in the audience watching. You know, this could be your chance to convert some of them, give them something to think about. You know, the number is on screen. It's 720-619-2288. I think there's also a way to access it via like web browser, although I don't know the specifics of that.
Yeah,
but
the web link is in the description of this YouTube video. So just go down to the description into the doobly-doo, whatever it's called, and click it there. You'll see it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
But,
if you have some reason, if you think God does exist, we would love to debate with you. You know, you can be the very first person that we talk to. No wait, basically instant.
Yeah, and
you know,
we won't be pulling any emotions or baggage from previous conversations. Like we're fresh, clean slates. Like just come in and paint your picture for God, and let's see what happens. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and bring in somebody. We're going to go ahead and bring in our only caller right now, and we have Ruby. Hello, Ruby. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well. Yeah. So Ruby, pronoun she, her, 23 from Kentucky. Ruby, you're an atheist, and your comment here in the description or in the call-in studio thingy says, talking to anti-trans Christian, how to counter Bible. So I guess you're asking for how do you counter points being made from the Bible?
Well, so it's my fiance's grandfather, and he's very transphobic towards me specifically. And I want to know how to navigate that situation, because he does use the Bible as the basis of his beliefs for being anti-trans.
Where does it say? I'm so confused. I don't think that there's any like unambiguous like condemnation of being trans in the Bible. Is there like a specific verse that he's citing?
No, he just simply says that it's his belief. I've tried asking him for the specific verse because I can't personally find it, but yeah, he just says it's just the Bible.
Well, it kind of sounds like it's the case that I'm sure we've all heard where it's, you know, it isn't actually in the Bible. There are ways to be Christian and pro-trans. Like you can basically get whatever interpretation of the Bible that you want. If somebody believes a specific thing, the Bible is no justification for it, because you can interpret the Bible in a way that doesn't hold that belief. If this grandfather or this father, it's if this person wanted to come away with a pro-trans interpretation, he certainly could. I think that the best way Well, I think there's like a lot to say, but I think one of the things, like obviously, you should protect your mental health and avoid it to the greatest extent that you can. But just get specific about the verse. I mean, like clearly, like the person doesn't even know the verse. You should point it out. You should say it doesn't sound like you know what the verse is.
Yeah, I've tried that approach. It's my fiance's grandfather, and I just want a close relationship with her side of the family, not just my own, because my side of the family is all atheists, so I don't have to worry about that. But I just I'm trying to navigate building a good relationship with them while they're also being like transphobic, whether that be through an education or just ignorance or bigotry.
So you're not exactly looking to give counterpoints to what he's saying. You're just looking for a way to like kind of peacefully coexist with this future in-law.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Well, what I was gonna say was, if you ever were to like say, okay, I want to take on and give him counterpoints, what Ian said was actually really good advice. What you might be able to do is just frame it rather, instead of like directly challenging, hey, where's in the Bible are you telling me this, and like putting that on the grandfather. What you could do is say, hey, you know what? I actually spoke to another Christian the other day, and they said trans is being fine. Like it's okay to be trans in the Bible, and pit the grandfather against that hypothetical Christian, or even find a real Christian that says that. You can find lots of Christian content creators online that say being trans is okay. And say, hey, listen, I got this other Christian over here telling me the opposite. Who do I believe? And then put that back on the grandfather to start having to not only explain why that other Christian is wrong, but explain why he is right. And that might get his mind going and start having to make justifications rather than just simply bluntly asserting it, not backing it up. But that's if you want to take it on point to point. But I mean, when it comes down to like just coexisting peacefully, it could just be as simple as a conversation as saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to ever see eye to eye on this. And just ask, is this going to be a problem with our relationship as in-laws or as friends, or even as when I say associates, sorry, I'm losing the word, acquaintances. Ask straight up, is this going to be a problem? And then have him explain whether that's going to be the case or not, because it's not really up to you to have to fix any like problems on his side, because you don't have to justify your existence to him. He just simply needs to accept you for who you are and treat you as a family member, as a fellow human at the very least. So have you done that with him? Like, have you spoken to him about what his point of view is on that type of relationship?
I have, and I just very femininely, because I present as a woman, because that's what I am. And I used to live there because I was homeless for a while, and he told me that I couldn't dress effeminately at all because it would wear off on the grandkids and stuff like that, because there were toddlers running around. And it hurt because I couldn't be me around my fiance's family. And I just really didn't know how to navigate that. Like, I couldn't wear makeup. I couldn't wear a dress or anything else like that for like specific events. And I've tried talking to him about it, and he told me point blank that if I were to dress effeminate, that he would kick me out. Thankfully, I'm not living there anymore, but yeah.
I bet probably the best thing to do is to just avoid this person as much as possible.
I would say so too, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like there isn't, I mean, I don't know. It sounds like a hateful person who...
Well, he hosts the all the family events and stuff, and the extended family doesn't really want to have those events anywhere else. So it's kind of hard to avoid if I want to build a relationship with my fiance's extended family, especially when it comes to big family events.
Yeah. Well,
honestly, this sounds like something that I don't want to volunteer your fiance, but this sounds like something that your fiance should be doing. It sounds like your fiance should be going to bat for you pretty hard and resolving this stuff.
But she has. Yeah, she definitely has. And she's most of her family has actually cut her off because of me, and I feel terrible about it. But I just wanted to try and help patch that relationship with her family, because she still does love them, but she doesn't want to be around family that pretty much hates her fiance for just what I am.
Yeah. I mean, if it is your grandfather's house, then he can set the rules about what happens inside of his house. So that might be kind of a blocker there. But if family gatherings are happening at this house, that's not necessarily the only time you have to have outreach and make connections with other family members. Like that can be done outside of those family events. So if you have if you have this guy, the grandfather, he owns the home that these events are being held in. He's setting these rules as unreasonable, as unfair as they are. That hopefully shouldn't block you from still making progress with the rest of the family. Sure, it's more effort. It's much easier when all the families together and you can commingle and all that. But if that is something you want to do and the grandfathers are simply blocking you from doing that in that efficient manner, then you still have the opportunities to, go have lunch with certain family members and express yourself for who you are around them. And you can find members of the family who align with you with your right to be who you are and dress how you want. And you'll start to identify and filter out, okay, these are my allies in the family, these are not. And you'll start understanding kind of like what the dynamic is. Because if the grandfather's just going to be there and just going to block that entire effort, then you're going to have to find a way around that. And that's more work. It's not fair, but I mean, that's just kind of the reality of it.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely built a really good relationship with my fiance's father. And
that's great.
He's great.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
Yeah.
I think I can't imagine what it's like for you, but I can fathom that if I was in that situation, I think I would much rather have the better relationship with the closer family member to my fiance than the one, one generation removed, because chances are the father's going to be around much longer. The father's had much more of an impact on your fiance's life. And that's the preferred relationship if you had to choose between the two. So at least you're lucky there.
Right. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah. So sorry you're dealing with that, and keep going. It's not easy. It's not fair, but not a lot of life is. So, but feeling for you. So I really, really hope it works out for you.
All right. I appreciate all the advice. Guys, have a great night.
All right. Thank you, Ruby.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah. All right. So we got some calls in the queue now. This usually happens on the evening show. Like it starts off kind of slow, then all of a sudden, boom, like just something kicks in, and then all of a sudden we have a bunch of people calling in. So let's go ahead and bring in the next person, unless you have something to say, Ian.
Oh, I was just going to say, it looks like this person down here is a theist.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's see here. I see atheist queued. Wait, hold on, I just changed. Okay, there it is.
Yep.
Okay, we got John. Let's go ahead and bring in John. Hello, John. We have you here on the line. It says here John is a theist. Wait, hold on. What happened? Whoa, the queue's going crazy. Where'd John go? Oh, you're here. Okay, you disappeared out of the queue, so I can't read your... Oh, here it is. John, you say you believe in the spirit world.
Yeah. Look, this is all my personal opinion. Luciferians convinced me. The MK Ultra project, LSD, it showed that a spirit world exists. I would have to tell you about Michael Aquino and Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey and go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one might say that what's happening on LSD is that you're hallucinating. And then one might go on to say that hallucinations don't really line up with reality. I don't think that we should believe the things that we see in hallucinations just by the nature of hallucinations. Different people can be sitting in the same room and hallucinate different things. We should probably disbelieve both of them.
Okay, so part of an LSD experience, I know this from stuff I've read, and also my best friend, he told me that like when he was on LSD, he could actually see himself about 20 feet above his body. Right?
A hallucination,
This is what I'm trying. Oh, so you think that's hallucination?
Obviously, yeah.
James Randi, he gave an accounting of his experience when he was sleeping, how he was able to see himself from above his bed, and he could see the cat on the bed, kind of taking up all the space as cats do. And James Randi was a rationalist and a skeptic, And upon investigation, there was actually facts about that experience that didn't line up with reality. So this is a common thing, drugs or no. Like, people experience this.
Yeah, so look, I'm heavily into martial arts, and one of my instructors, a devout Christian, but he got into Eastern philosophy, and he would have out of body experiences. This is something similar to LSD. This is what I'm trying to tell you about a spirit world existing. This is, and there's all this occult symbolism in Hollywood, and this is why I
Who
think
cares?
if we look at our elite,
So what?
These are like just stories.
why are they
John.
doing it? Why are they doing it?
Why is he doing what? Telling stories?
Why are a bunch of fucking super powerful elites going to Bohemian Grove and running around in the woods naked and having a bunch of gay orgies and worshiping a giant owl?
Because they're LARPing.
Please.
Because
Boredom?
they're doing a bit of networking, one might say.
LARPing?
Yeah. I doubt that any of those people like genuinely believe, you know, if the only way to progress my career in Hollywood was by going to Bohemian Grove and running around naked, man, I'd really be considering doing that too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that that is some sort of indication that they believe it. But let's say that they all believed it. Let's say that they're all secretly Satanists. So what? Why would they be correct?
Because John,
I don't think they would bother.
Can you be rich and powerful and be mistaken about this experience? Right?
Sure.
Yeah. So why believe? Well, so why does saying that a bunch of rich and powerful people get together and do this crazy shit in the forest? How does that at all indicate whether it's real or not?
Do you agree with me if they're doing it?
Sure.
I don't-
Wait, in fact,
yeah.
let's grant it. Let's grant
Sake of
100%
argument,
of it. Yeah.
I was going to say that. Sake of argument, sure, we grant it. We got crazy, not crazy. I'm sorry, I don't want to. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, they go on the forest. They worship Moloch. They dance around naked. They have orgies. Sure, granted. So what?
Yes. Some people believe in Ganesh and they worship Ganesh. I don't think that's evidence that Ganesh is real. Do you?
Look, there would not be.
I asked you a
all this
question.
occult symbolism. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah. Do you think that the fact that people worship Ganesh is evidence that Ganesh is real?
Who's Ganesh?
Like a Hindu god?
No, I mean, well, this could be something similar to Zeus or Greek mythology, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, they certainly believe it, but yeah.
So that's what you think. That's what you think this is.
That's what I'm asking you. Do you think the fact that these people worship Ganesh, did you think that's some evidence that Hinduism is true?
No, possibly. I think there's a spirit world. I think there's an afterlife.
I don't know why
And look,
people believing
look.
something would be evidence for it being true.
Yeah.
Like, you can believe anything. I don't know if you're aware of that. You can believe that there are like unicorns prancing around through Australia. That doesn't make it true.
Do you believe in the theory of relativity?
The theory of relativity, like Einstein's theory of special relativity?
Yes. So
it's pretty well substantiated.
Yeah. And demonstrated.
Yeah. So it's not unreasonable for me to talk about Einstein, just like it would not be reasonable if I was talking about nuclear weapons, to talk to you about Oppenheimer.
Well,
so just
no,
like
John,
it's not unreasonable if I'm talking to you about the occult, I would talk to you about Aleister Crowley and Michael Aquino.
What's
and
the evidence that any of it's true? I can
Maria
give you the evidence that
Abramovich,
special relativity is true and the evidence that general relativity is true.
Hollywood.
What's the evidence that these spiritual things are true?
Well, this is why I'm trying to talk to you about Aquino and Crowley and Blavatsky and Maria Abramovich and Hollywood occult symbolism. This is the.
Do they provide any evidence?
Yeah.
I just want the evidence.
Why are they fucking covering up their eye and worshiping pyramids?
Maybe it's part of the religion.
Are they just crazy?
Why should we think that the religion is true?
Because they wouldn't bother otherwise, and this is what I'm trying to talk to you about the use of.
By this logic, every religion on earth is true. Why would
maybe
people sacrifice to Zeus? You know, they wouldn't sacrifice to Zeus if Zeus didn't exist.
Maybe it's just the drugs compromising their faculties.
No, well,
that's why they're doing it.
You're just telling me. How would somebody have an out-of-body? Go ahead.
It's a common thing, but John, rolling it back a little bit, okay? So you tried to point to the theory of relativity as like, okay, well, you believe in that. Why can't I go over here and believe in this? And there's a big difference with the theory of relativity. It makes predictions that are testable. We've gone to test those predictions and confirm that the theory of relativity is true, and we've been able to do very useful things with the theory of relativity. It is a useful tool to us that has practical applications that we are using even this moment as we're talking over the internet, because these signals are going through satellites and going through computer networks, and our understanding of physics allows all that to be possible. We are doing real and practical useful things using the theory of relativity. Name me one thing that somebody on a drug trip has brought back that has been useful.
Remote viewing.
Remote viewing stuff sucked. I'm familiar with the remote viewing stuff. If the remote viewing stuff worked, and I guess like for the audience's sake, the context of this is that there was like some CIA program where they would bring in like psychics to like scout out like locations. If the program worked, then why wouldn't they still be doing it? They retired the program because it didn't work.
Look.
So you're one example of spiritual experiences and hallucinations brought back nothing. It got cut from the team.
Do you agree with me that the Nazis were heavily into the occult?
Yeah.
I wonder why they lost.
Right. So the Nazis
Hitler.
were heavily
I think we have video footage of Hitler at public events, like high as a fucking kite, and then they lost the war.
Well, he was on meth and fucking downers and all that. Okay, fine. Yes, I agree. Okay, but the Nazis are into the occult. And in 1947, under Project Paperclip, all kinds of Nazi scientists were brought into the U.S. to work on aviation and NASA and mind control. Are we in agreement or no?
You tried to slip that one in there. Yeah, I'm sure they tried to work on mind control, but it didn't go anywhere.
Oh, you know, airplanes, rockets, mind control.
What do you mean? Yeah. Wait a minute. What do you mean it did not go anywhere?
We have no evidence that any of the mind control stuff actually worked.
Yeah.
Let me break this shit down for you. In 1949, it was known as Project Bluebird. It was known as Project Bluebird. It evolved into Project Artichoke. In 1953, it became known as the umbrella project of MK Ultra. It lasted through the 70s. MK Nomi, MK Often. This is BZ. This is the drug BZ. This is Jacob's Ladder. That movie. Like if you're familiar, this is what the CIA was trying to find every possible aspect of human behavior, and the idea was to break the human mind for purposes of sexual blackmail. This is Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. And this
did it work? Did the MK Ultra stuff work, or was it like a huge failure that was like such a failure that they actually released all the documents because it was a failure? You know, if it worked, if they had some like secret technique to do this, they sure as fuck wouldn't be telling you.
They destroyed most of the documents.
Oh, did they?
Mm.
Yes, they did. Well, here, you think I'm a conspiracy theorist? Is that what you think?
I didn't call you that, but yeah, obviously.
I just think you're conspiracy theorist shaped.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Did the CIA import drugs into the U.S.?
I have no idea. Sounds like something that they might have done. Yeah. But I got a question for you. How do you know that you're actually having this conversation and that the CIA didn't drug you into having hallucinations? How do you know that you're not just hallucinating right now? They have the power to. You know, they'd want to keep you silent. How do you know that they didn't just drug you?
I hear you. No, I hear your voice, Ian. I'm coherent right now.
That's what you would hear if you were hallucinating.
Yeah. How do you know that? How do you know there's not a hallucination?
Well,
How do you know that MK Ultra wasn't a success and that they haven't unleashed it on you right now and that you're actually hallucinating?
Yeah.
Well, because I see a timer going right now and we're talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but how do you know that you wouldn't be seeing that if you had been injected with a hallucination drug? How do you know you wouldn't have been seeing the exact same thing?
Oh, if I was on a BZ trip?
Yeah. Yeah, how do you know that they didn't perfect hallucination drugs and that you're currently on one? They've injected you with one. You can't trust anything, not even your senses.
I'm not.
You know, chat
on
would be making
PC.
fun
I'm
of
just
you in the
drinking a lot-
hallucination too.
I'm just drinking a lot of gin. That's all. That's all I'm doing. Right? Look. I would actually do fucking heroin if it was legal, but it's not, like in the 1890s. You know.
But how do you know that the CIA hasn't injected you with some sort of hallucinogen?
Yeah. You could be under their control right now.
I don't think that. Like.
Why not? Wait, why not? Do they not have the power to?
Yeah, sure they do, but I'm an unknown. They don't care about me.
And wait, might they want to do that to you?
No, but
why wouldn't they want to do that to you?
We are in a
They have the power to do it. They have the desire to do it. I think that I think that you should probably just suspect that you're hallucinating right now.
Oh, I don't think I'm hallucinating. I hear you quite fine.
But that's how you would feel if they had given you the hallucinogen.
Yeah.
Maybe it was all a success. You know, maybe they're trying to keep you from the real conspiracy theory, the time cube. Maybe they're trying to protect us, prevent us from uncovering, unraveling the mystery, finding out the time cube, that the Earth is not one sphere that travels in 24 hours, but is rather 96-hour time cycles that's divided into 4 sections and that undergoes 4 simultaneous 24-hour days. The CIA is trying to keep it from you, John. They're trying to prevent you from finding out. John, this is the form that we've been able to take. We've been able to make contact with you in your hallucination, and this is the form that I'm able to take, John. You know, wake up, John. You're hallucinating.
No, you're gaslighting.
Remember the time cube, John?
You're a gay wad. You
got blown the fuck out. You got beat the fuck down. You got reduced to like the butt of a joke.
Oh, okay. So, John,
Dude, Ian. Go ahead.
John, the point of that was like, how do you at all take what you're claiming to be the truth and differentiate that from an actual real hallucination? You can't, because there's no mechanism by which to determine whether you're hallucinating on these drug trips or you're actually experiencing reality. That's the inherent problem with modifying your brain with drugs and alcohol. This is not evidence of anything, unless you can maybe astral project or put yourself somewhere else and then bring back something useful. Like, bring us back the lotto numbers from tomorrow. Hold on. Bring us back the lotto winning numbers for tomorrow, if the lotto is tomorrow. Go find D.B. Cooper's lost fortune that he got from the hijacked plane back in, like, what, the 80s or something, like, or the 70s. Like, go figure out something useful and bring it back that we can test, because until you can do that, this is just the ramblings of a drug addict.
No. Can you hear that? See, I'm snapping my fingers. Is that real?
I don't know. Maybe we're just hallucinations.
You hear?
Maybe.
The problem is that you've committed yourself to these deceivers that have the power to put you in like a hallucinatory trip. And also, there's no reason to think that they wouldn't. This is kind of a problem, and you see theists. I mean, you're a theist, although you haven't talked about God much. But you see this problem with theists when you hold that there's like this all-powerful God who does things for reasons that are beyond our comprehension. Well, if you have a God that has the power to deceive you and the desire to deceive you, well, you should just assume that you're deceived. Likewise, if you believe in some sort of organization that has the power to make you hallucinate all of your experiences and would have the desire to make you hallucinate all of your experiences, you should probably just assume that you're hallucinating.
Well, there was actually an experiment in France, and I think it was 1951.
John, is your response? I'm sorry, I gotta stop you for a second, John. Is your response to all of our points just like another story? Because like this is a pattern you're establishing here, where a point is made to you, and rather than addressing the point, you then go on to another story. Like, if the last 3 stories didn't establish your case, a 4th story is not. Right?
What's your point? I'll address it.
Ian, you want to repeat it?
Yeah. So it's a problem of skepticism. If you believe that there's some entity that has the desire and power to deceive you, the desire and power to make you hallucinate, well, you should probably just assume that you're hallucinating. So you believe that the CIA has this drug that can make you hallucinate, that they can control your entire world. well, you should probably just assume that your entire world is controlled at that point.
Because one thing that's very common, amongst conspiracy theorists and people that get caught up in this is that they think that they're special and exempt. They're somehow immune from what they think is going on. Because the picture you're painting is that the government can mind control you, and as Ian said, has the power to, has the desire to. If that's the case and both of those things are true, then you're being mind controlled right now. But for some reason, whenever we present that to you, you say, "Oh no, that's not happening to me." Well, how do you know? It's the conspiracy theorist is always immune to the stories that they're spouting, and that's really peculiar.
No, it's really not. It's 5G technology actually has the capability. Actually, look, just wrap your fucking cell phone in tinfoil and try and call it. It won't work.
I need a bingo card here. We hit 5G. I need a bingo card.
But could you tell me more about that?
Well, 5G actually allows EMF frequency to be produced on a massive scale.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Tell me more.
You think that's wrong?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Lay it on us.
Yeah. 5G technology. This is asymmetrical warfare. This is EMF frequency. This is what I was trying to tell you about Michael Aquino. Yeah, you see, there's our brains operate on frequency, right? And this is why Yuri Noah Harari of the WEF says that humans are hackable animals, and he was mentored by Klaus Schwab, who was mentored by Henry Kissinger.
Well, if he was mentored by Klaus Schwab.
That was the key. That's what I needed to hear. I now believe all of it. He just gave me the critical piece, and I'm on board, John. I'm on board. How do we protect ourselves, John?
Oh, you can't hear the song? Fuck, that's too bad. That's probably fair.
I thought you had a soundboard. We heard like the first like
damn it,
the first sting of that.
Oh no.
And then I think Zoom was like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna AI filter that out. But
that's so sad. I was just playing the X-Files music in the background.
Just tell me this. Why do you think that Yuri Noah Harari says that humans are hackable animals? Why did he say that?
Who knows? What's his qualifications?
Yeah. What animals?
Well, you think humans are animals, don't you? You all believe in evolution, right? I do.
This military historian, is that who you're talking about? This historian? Who cares what this historian has to say?
Well, do you know what the WEF is? The World Economic Forum? You know what that is?
Yeah. Tell us more about your gibberish.
Gibberish? No. You didn't answer any of my questions.
I just answered one. You asked me, do you know what the WEF is? And I said, yeah, the World Economic Forum. That is an answer to your question. You're too stupid to realize.
Yeah, and why do you think that humans are hackable animals? Ian?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
I hacked my vision with these glasses.
It means that people can be convinced and do anything. That's what it means.
Oh, I think that one of those things is true. You know, I think that humans can be convinced of a wide range of things.
Yeah.
I don't think humans can do anything.
Yeah.
I think humans can really be convinced to accept all kinds of crazy stuff, especially when their minds have been compromised by like chemical substances. So like if you want to call that hacking, then okay, yeah, humans can be hacked.
Yeah, you could have gotten the same lesson from Aristotle, by the way. You know, as he's explaining rhetoric.
All right, are trans women women?
Why are you pivoting?
Oh my god!
Did you get blown the fuck out so badly on the God topic? Like, is this like the equivalent of like friendship for you? Like, you think that like a call-in show is like Friends, so you just kind of got to get it all off your chest? Hey, John, I'll tell you what. John, I'll tell you what. I guarantee you don't have the boots for that hike. You will get completely eradicated on this topic. You should find a different topic.
Mm-hmm. All right, John. You have a nice day, buddy. Okay, we're gonna catch you later. Wow, what a trip! That's that was a nice second call of the evening. Ian, any final comments for that? Because that was just painful.
Yeah. I thought, I'm glad that we were able to come together and have like a good faith discourse where we were able to share ideas back and forth. I'm really glad. I think that at the end of the day, we were able to achieve the highest good. Maybe the real argument was the friends we made along the way,
or the enemies. But yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned this earlier. It's like this is what theists thrive in. It's like, okay, story, baseless assertion, story. Oh, a question? Let's bring another story. Let's bring another baseless assertion. It's like there's no clarity in any of what John was like presenting us. It's just, let's just add mud to the water and make it as difficult as possible to navigate any type of like coherent conversation around this and get to the truth. And anyway, John, thank you so much for showing me right. So anywho, folks in the audience, call in. The number is 720-619-2288. My name is Eric, and this is Ian from Allegedly Ian, a fine YouTube channel that I do recommend everyone go subscribe to. Ian streams multiple times a week, and very entertaining. And I mean, one thing I want to say about your streams I really enjoy is, one is, yes, you get callers like what we just had from John, I think it was. I'm already forgetting his name. Like, that's how fast he's leaving my brain.
Must be the MK Ultra.
It must be.
The
CIA is like, oh shit, Eric's getting a little bit too close to the truth. Let's go ahead and just erase those memories. It's getting fuzzy.
The dial.
Yeah, it's getting a little fuzzy. It's not the fact that this made me like my fifth hour streaming for the day, but anyway, get calls like that, nice and fun. Like, hey, let's have a little fun with these crazy accusations or crazy claims. But then sometimes, like, you get a really good faith, intelligent interlocutor who's like earnestly wants to learn and discuss like, a philosophical point about whether or not a God exists, and even some like awesome deep conversations that are just super enlightening and just intelligent and just so refreshing to listen to. And then the very next caller after that might be another, John. So it's a roller coaster of emotion, and that's why I like listening to your channel so much. But anyway, folks in the audience, go subscribe, because it's a great place to go do some learning and have some entertainment along the way.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, let's go on to our next caller then. We got. Let's see here. We prioritize theists here on the line. So I'm sorry, atheists in the queue. You are a third-class citizen in this ecosystem. Nothing personal. We're going to go ahead and bring in William. Hello, William. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. We talked before, Eric. I really enjoyed our talk on the evidences like the Cambrian and so forth. But the reason I called today was when I was an atheist, I used to debate Calvinists, and really smart, intelligent people. But one of them actually became a woman, became trans. I mean, the whole trans thing became an actual woman, and very surprising. So I was kind of startled when I heard about it.
Why is that?
So, because Calvinists, I don't know how familiar you are with them, but they're usually the more intelligent Christians, and they're very well read usually, but they believe in divine exhaustive determinism, where everything is determined by the sovereignty of God, and that everything is in his control.
The elect are the elect, and the damned are the elect are the elect, and the damned are the damned, and that's just how God made it. Deal with it. Yeah, it's
limited
Calvinist position.
The tulip. Yeah. And so it's so counterintuitive, but that's why it's so hard to get through to them, because they've already believing something that is counterintuitive, that doesn't make sense logically. But they believe the scriptures, which it does seem in some cases the scriptures do seem to indicate that God does choose. One of them would be, before Esau and Jacob were born, I hated Esau and loved Jacob. That sort of thing. They have their evidences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, but you said that you're not currently an atheist. Is there something that makes you think that God exists?
Well, yeah. it's like the fine tuning was the big thing that put me over the edge.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, I don't want to repeat myself, but the Pauli exclusion principle, where you have the electrons that inhabit certain shells and orbitals, 2 in the K shell, 8 in the L shell, and then 18 in the M, where how does that just happen randomly? And
randomly? Who said anything about randomly?
Yeah.
Perhaps there are like more fundamental sets of rules. Like what it seems like is the case is that there are all these quantum fields, when you go deeper, when you try to go deeper than like the particles themselves, you end up finding that the particles are excitations within these quantum fields. And it could be that the geometry of these quantum fields is what gives rise to the various different laws of physics, the laws of the universe. So we could presumably just account for those that way. The laws might be necessary. And even if they're not, it's kind of too early in the game to make some sort of claim about how likely or unlikely it is. We don't know what the probability space is, which is what we would need to know. We would need to know how likely it is for them to be different from how they are in order for this to be like some sort of evidence.
Well, good point. But just the formation of these forces, the gravitational force, which you can kind of understand, but the strong nuclear force, it's like how in the world does that just come about by chance? And that it's 100 times more stronger than the electromagnetic force. And if it doesn't go right, you don't get the periodic table, you just get hydrogen. And if it's the other way, if it's too strong, you just get the periodic table, but you don't get hydrogen. So you don't get, obviously, water and so forth.
Here's a question for you. Why would we think that God would want to create life in this form? In any universe, God could have had like the strong nuclear force be way stronger, way weaker, and then there still would have been these subatomic particles. There still would have been things like, electrons, and photons, even if there aren't these complex structures like atoms. And then God can give all of these electrons, he can give them minds, he can give them personalities, and he can allow them to interact with each other in the same way that we might interact with each other. They can say mean words to each other. They can, come together and worship God. They can tell each other that they love each other. They can form relationships. So God could have created life in literally any world. So why does he need this fine tuning? Why would God want this type of life as opposed to the electrons and love?
Well, it's funny, the quarks, the simplicity of the universe is basically quarks and electrons are the most, the standard model has these as the most fundamental forces. And quarks have to have certain charges, certain masses. The mass of the electron has to be a certain way. The charge is 10 to the minus 15th. So everything seems to be extremely precise.
Wait, so do you want to answer the question? You just didn't answer the question at all.
Yeah.
Why would God want that?
Oh, well, it could. Yeah. No, obviously, yeah, it could. What you're saying, yeah. It could be
Why
a
would
different
God want carbon-based life?
Different walls, sure.
In order for carbon-based life to be evidence that favors God's existence over his non-existence, there would need to be some reason to think that God would specifically choose carbon-based life as opposed to electrons that have minds.
Right. He could have done it the way, but this is the universe we live in, and the multiverse.
Why would he choose this universe over that one?
I have no idea. He might have. There might be another universe.
It's not evidence for God.
Electrons are in love. Sure, that could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem, right? If there is no reason for God to pick this universe over the electron and love universe, then we have no reason to expect this universe over that universe, which means that this universe isn't evidence. The fine tuning isn't evidence. God just has some arbitrary desire in your view. You push the fine tuning back a stage to God's desires. God desires this type of life, this finely tuned type of life, for no reason at all.
Well, yeah, it's just, as when I was an atheist, I just looked at the evidence, and it wasn't like it was overwhelming. I mean, there's objections which you so articulated, and it just felt that and it wasn't only that; it was the origin of life. The chance of a protein forming by chance with 100 amino acids in that order is like 10 to the 77th. I've heard people say. So
But
that's saying it's basically impossible
super
for a protein
doable.
to form.
Isn't that doable in a universe the size of this one? Why wouldn't that be doable? I mean, amino acids form literally all of the time.
Yeah.
They form all over the place.
Right, we get them in meteors. They're formed in space. They're actually kind of trivial. So yeah, the amino acids are doable. It's the formation of these proteins. It's the lipid layer of membrane is a big challenge to get that. And there's the wet dry cycle people and the hypothermal vent people that believe that's where life arose. But
did you know that we actually didn't know about these thermal vents? Specifically, one of the unique predictions that was made because of abiogenesis, we didn't know that there were these alkaline ocean vents, these ocean vents that were more alkaline than they were acidic. But that was a prediction, is that the ideal spot for the formation of the very first life forms would have happened in alkaline ocean vents. They didn't know that they actually existed at the time, but they theorized that they probably do exist. And then we found some. How would you explain this unique prediction?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it's a great point. There's things that like Tiktaalik 375 million years ago in the Devonian Ordovician, I forgot. They predicted that. They thought they would find it, I think, in Greenland or whatever. And lo and behold, they found our great ancestor of reptile, a fish reptile, the tetrapod that crawls out of the ocean and into land. But some of the things I have a little problem with is, how does it get a neck? How does it what's the mechanism? The mutation is the evolutionary mechanism, but it just seems that to get this new body plan is so formidable, and the little flippers have to actually somehow turn into legs eventually.
It all is very impressive, but the question is, why does any of that indicate to us that a God did it?
Oh, because what the Discovery Institute says is that in the Cambrian, God intervenes and starts the exoskeletons of the trilobites.
That's the claim.
Arthropods. They just don't have any Precambrian precursors.
That is the claim, but the question is, why do we think God did it? But all you did was say, the Discovery Institute said God did it. That doesn't explain it.
Yeah.
William, let me ask you this, okay? So William, let me ask you this, okay? So you're saying that, okay, the universe is finely tuned to support life, and that's evidence of a God. What if the universe wasn't as finely tuned, but we were still here? Like, how much tuning do you have to tune it down to get to a point where it's like, nope, no more God? Like, how far down do you have to go?
I don't know.
Okay. What if you
problems?
Let me present to you two universes, okay? And let me ask you which one of these to you indicates more of a God than the other. So the first universe is our universe right now, exactly as it is. It is tuned the way it is right here, and here we are complaining about it. Now let's take another universe, and let's just remove the fine tuning. Like, this is a chaotic universe. The rules don't really seem to be all that coherent, and yet we are in that universe too, complaining about it. So we have a finely tuned universe where we complain about it, and we have another universe that's not finely tuned, but we're there to complain about it regardless. Which of those indicates to you more that God did it?
Well, I guess the one that has more evidence of fine tuning.
I'm asking you which one.
Yeah, but
not which one has more evidence. Okay. Which one of those? When you look at those two universes, which one of those universes tells to you this is more likely God did this than the other?
Oh, so maybe the chaotic universe is more evidence because so very impressive. Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. So really, fine tuning is not the criteria. Tuning is not the criteria you're going by. I got a feeling, John, that I could present any universe to you in which we're present to complain about it, and you will find some reason to say this universe is evidence that a God exists.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's William, by the way, not John.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I've had a long day. Apologies, William. That's my fault.
Oh,
But
well, gosh, I mean, having to go through this, I feel for you.
it is taxing. but anyway, like, okay, so it sounds like you're not really going by fine tuning. You're using it as an argument, but really fine tuning is not really a factor in your calculus. So let's just drop it. It's not a good reason to believe.
Well, it's funny. I go to, even though I'm a theist, I'm not a Christian. I go to one of these skeptic churches, and now we have life groups. You know, Sunday school's out the window, and you have the old people's service at 9:30, and you try to get them out of there as quick as possible, not to embarrass the cool hip Christians coming in at 11. So it's really a different experience. But I'm, again, trying to communicate and get through to Christians. I was telling them about how Christianity was a monolithic thing during the first few centuries, that you had Ebionites that thought Jesus was fully human, Gnostics that thought he was fully God, Docetics that thought he appeared, Marcionites that couldn't reconcile the Old Testament God with the New Testament. It was all over the place. So you got to draw this fine line between offending them and, you know, trying to relate to them and get through to them. And as an atheist, I was like at the New Orleans seminary debating a Christian, and the kids invited me out to dinner. So, you know, I felt I got through to them without offending them. But they're very sensitive, and they're, as you guys know, talking to them, they can be very defensive. And it's just a challenge to get through to them, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
And what, go ahead.
That's fine.
And what's interesting to me, I tell people I was a Christian, and they, you know, the Calvinists, Perseverance of the Saints, say that, oh no, you were never a Christian. And the way I analogize this is I say, there's a fellow named Ken Daniels, who's a friend of mine, who was a missionary to Africa. And he said, oh, I want to go to the hottest parts of Africa. He wrote a book, Why I Believe, which is really a nice, informative book about this. And here's the analogy. He was the quarterback. He was all in, committed, missionary, 100%. Now he's an atheist.
Sorry. I just want just to interrupt you really quickly. What's the point that this is supposed to be getting at?
Well, here's the conclusion. I was like on the kickoff team, on the football team. So I really wasn't an impact. I had no impact on the game, but I was still on the football team. Okay. And what's really interesting, I was doing a little discussion with Aaron Ra about the Cambrian and, you know, evolution and so forth. And he's just this alleged atheist. So what's funny is now my atheism is being questioned. So I don't know where I'm at. You know, I wasn't a real Christian. I'm now I wasn't a real atheist. Who knows, guys? It's really funny, in my opinion.
Well, cool story, William. Appreciate it. And I guess we're just going to go ahead and move on to our next caller. But thank you for the call.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. I didn't know how else to end that.
So it turns out there was no point. Oh no! Wait, what happened to the other person? Just dropped
shit.
as well.
That's my fault. That the queue doesn't like order them. Like, I'm so sorry. Hey, Hubsy, if you're hearing this, please call back in. I accidentally dropped you. That is my bad. I should not be driving right now. I'm very, very tired. So
that's okay.
But yeah, like I don't know. Like if you can look at any universe, and if there's any consciousness present and call that, oh, that's evidence for God, like William was doing, I don't think at that point, like, you don't care about tuning. It's not really a question about tuning. It's just a question about, well, I don't know how we're here, therefore I'm just going to ascribe it to some, you know, some extra natural source that I can't explain. And yeah, I don't know. Just I'm glad William was able to see that. Hey, yeah, tuning is not actually a factor in his argument there, even though he was trying to assert it as such. I got Matt in the chat calling for my firing, so I think I have to probably bow out.
Oh no, not Matt in the chat.
I know, Matt in the chat. Hey, cool. I got Hubsy back. So I'm going to hit the right button this time. So let's go ahead and bring Hubsy in here. Answer. Hubsy, my apologies.
Hi, hello.
Yes, hello. I'm so sorry for kicking you.
Yeah.
That was not intended. The old call-in system, the old call-in system, the active call was always at the top. So no matter where you picked it up from the list, it would pop to the top. But now this new system, the call just remains in the middle of the list, so I can easily mix it up. But my apologies. But anyway,
Yeah, no
Hubsy,
problem.
yeah, it says here you're an atheist. You're 53 years old, and your comment is there may be a God worth looking into. Care to
I
elaborate?
think I may be changing my vote over the last 40 minutes. I think I may be changing my vote to theist. Not because of the nonsense calls that you had coming in or anything, but
okay.
I had time to think, and that's unfortunate.
I was gonna probably face palm if you said, "Oh, you know what? The drug guy really was convincing." So
no, not at all convincing. But I managed to throw something in a horrible syllogistic form. I'm not a logician, whatever. Somebody says logic.
Logician.
But I want to run this through and see what
Logic
you think.
man. Yeah, sure. Lay it on us.
All right. Premise one: biology is probably limited. Premise two: machines are probably not. Premise three: machines should carry on for biology.
Biology is limited. Machines are not limited. So machines should carry on for biology?
Yeah.
Wait, so what is your argument for? Is your argument for God? What is it for?
Yeah, what's the conclusion?
Yeah. Well, what I've come to is that, God may very well exist, just not yet. Doesn't exist now, but artificial intelligence has a lot more potential than we do. In 2 billion years, there'll be absolutely no trace of mankind, any of our history, Moses, Hitler, whatever, all gone. And we don't stand a chance, but AI and robots possibly do. And that might be our future, and we should possibly embrace it. And in the meantime, maybe get a better life out of it.
Sure, although I have no idea what this has to do with God. Typically, God is taken to be the first thing in all of the change, as opposed to like a thing that comes several, like God doesn't just refer to like a very powerful thing. God refers to the end and the beginning, the eternal thing, the creator, the source of all other things.
Does it have to?
I think so. That seems to be one of its essential notions, is that a God is a creator.
Is a God that's created within the universe, like it goes from not like the universe is here first, this God doesn't exist, and then this God is somehow manufactured or created, is completely different from the gods that we debate here on this show.
Yeah, like, okay, here's an easy thing. Typically, God is taken to be supernatural, but if what you're describing exists, well, it's going to follow laws of physics. It'll be natural.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm using more of the Stan Lee definition of God, possibly.
Stan Lee, the comic book guy.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that his like Thor, it was a god in Stan Lee, the Marvel universe, blah blah blah. Or
even Thor is supernatural.
Yeah, only because we don't understand the laws that they abide by, the physical laws, because it's magic to us because we don't understand the science behind it.
I mean, Thor got knocked around by Thanos, so I think Thor is very physical. So he's in physical reality. Okay. I don't think correct me if wrong, Ian, that wouldn't be a supernatural thing.
No, you'd want to say like his powers are supernatural.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like his powers don't follow from like laws of physics. It's magic.
I see.
Okay. Well, so if something is created that is not omnis, let's screw the omnis, but close to omnis, almost all knowing, almost all powerful, and almost all loving, or I guess we can even drop that last one. Doesn't that classify it as a god? If you reach the state of being almost all knowing and almost all powerful, that doesn't make you a god?
No, I think God refers specifically to something that is ultimate. Something that is Like if you traced back the causal
that's
chain, you would
creative.
arrive at that.
Okay, so you're pushing the creative God, the God of creation type thing, and that's the only definition usable for God.
I think that to do anything else is to redefine it.
Yeah. Like, sure, if for the sake of a conversation, if you want to redefine God to include that, like you're really like broadening the scope of what God means. And it's like, it's much better to just have a separate term for it and keep them separate, because it's natural versus non-natural, ultimate versus contingent. You're talking about two different category of things, and putting them together under one term would be just a mess.
I'm going to have to rethink my thesis. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for coming on up.
No problem, Husby. I was looking up. What's that? Okay, I'll see you later. Bye. Let's go hang up. There's a term. I think what Hubsy was saying. There's a term in. It's used in science fiction, but it's also kind of like a potential like futurist type thing of an AI brain in space. That, what is it called? This is something brain.
A Boltzmann brain.
Boltzmann brain. That's it. That's what I was trying to look up. I got a feeling that he was kind of gravitating towards that. Like, eventually one day, like his premises, biology is limited. He's talking about, hey, like our potential for what we can do in the universe is limited by our biology, and that machines are probably not. So, like ultimately, like is it kind of just a natural progression of a species that becomes technological to themselves, make themselves technological, start replacing parts and become more and more machine until finally that's all you have left.
Maybe you mean like transhumanism?
It's kind of like transhumanism, yeah. But it's kind of more like just, is it, I watch a lot of, or I used to, not for a while now. Not that I accept any of this as fact. It's just a lot of fun, like what ifs, what if is what the future holds for certain advanced civilizations. But Isaac Arthur and John Michael Gaudier, as well as a few others, they talk about, hey, maybe it's a possibility that once a species tends to hit this certain level of technological advancement, do they start turning inward and start modifying themselves into basically what they've invented in order to extend their lives, in order to, like travel into the harshness of space and better survive and yada, yada. And is this kind of just like the natural progression of what species become eventually? Not that that's the fact or anything like that, but I think that might be what Hubsy was kind of trying to get at. And eventually, like, okay, if you become technological and advance to the point where you're like almost you're almost indistinguishable from like a god, like you can basically do whatever you want within the universe. Is that the same thing or not? I think that's kind of what he was probably trying to get to. But
I see.
It's not the same thing because one's within the universe and bound to its physical limits, while the other one is not. So, that
makes sense. Although, I mean, there's like a couple things to say. First of all, that's not necessarily a thing that I disbelieve. Or even like, I think that we might even have good reason to think that that's going to happen. Although I think probably the biggest limiter would be, it's very likely that we just die from climate change before.
The great filter. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the great filter's in front of us, we're probably fucked.
Yeah. I'd be pretty surprised if we didn't get like completely ravaged by climate change over the next like 1,000 years or so.
Yeah, climate change. Or did you hear about that recent AI incident where an AI was asked to do a certain task, and that AI ended up breaking out of its sandbox, hacking a competitor company, and stealing their code?
Yep.
Like, holy shit! Like, what if that AI was, rather than going into a competitor company, going, "Hey, how can I launch this nuclear missile?" Or how do I make this nuclear reactor melt down? Like, holy shit. Like, are we really, like, maybe the filter's way closer than we expect. I really hope not, but yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, well, it's terrifying because, well, what makes it even scarier is that they had to, okay, so you have this American company that's getting hacked by this other American company, and then the Hugging Face, the company getting hacked by OpenAI, who's using like a GPT model that's accidentally hacking them. Hugging Face is like, holy shit, we need to defend ourselves. So they bring in like a GPT model that says, nope, can't do it, won't do cybersecurity, because obviously like that's like a good, like reasonable restriction. And then they bring in Claude, and Claude's like, nope, won't do it, won't do cybersecurity, which is reasonable. Like that's fair enough. So then they have to go to like a Chinese company, and the Chinese company is like, yep, launching defenses. And it's like, well, fuck. Like, that doesn't seem like a good world. Like, I think a good world would be one where all of these AI models are like, nope, not going to do cybersecurity. Won't do that.
Yeah,
But
that would be nice. But of course, that doesn't stop like private organizations or governments from saying, hey, we're just going to train our own AI models that don't have these restraints because we want, it's kind of like the classic, like, evil government wants a weapon trope. It's like, we don't care if we can't control it. Let's just build it and unleash it on our enemies. It's like all it takes is for one company, even just one person. Like if this technology starts becoming like really widely available and anybody can train whatever models they want, I don't know, 50, 100 years from now, just one person is all it takes to make something that's like so dangerous that it like kills us all. And that could be a solution to the gray filter. It's just the technology advances to a point where anything is accessible to anyone, and all it takes is for one crazy to just, build something and hit the button, and we're done. Yeah. It's pretty bonkers.
Yeah, I do wonder if we're going to come to a point not too far from now where the internet is just like categorically not a place where you store information because it becomes so hacked by all of the advanced AIs, where it's like, just don't do that. Just don't store any information anywhere. Like all the places that you stored your information on, they got like totally cracked open by AI models.
Yeah.
So now you just keep everything physical.
The hard drive. Yeah, we've come full circle. We've gone from like local storage, maybe even just paper stores. Like we were all just physical, like hard copy media. We've gone to soft copies, to like locally stored soft copies, now to the cloud. And now it's like, well, nothing's safe out there anymore. And in fact, it's slowly moving towards the direction of you just simply don't own the stuff you store in the cloud anymore. The purchases you make, the stuff you upload, it's all just belongs to the company. Basically, you upload it to. They can use it to train their models, and it's like nothing's really yours anymore. And now we're going to kind of go back to, actually, I want to bring this data back home, and it's going to be back on a hard drive on my desk. Yeah, it's like a full circle. And unfortunately, hard drives are 8 times more expensive now than they were a year ago. So it's going to be really hard to kind of do that anymore.
Yeah, but look on the bright side. This is the cheapest they'll ever be for the rest of your life.
So true. So true. I really should build that NAS now for my legitimately acquired movies. So folks in the audience, we have no callers in the queue. So I don't know, Ian, I don't know if we scared them all off, or I don't know if this vibe coded call-in system that we're using is just simply not showing the calls. I don't know. Folks in the audience, call on in. The number is 720-619-2288. And we'd love to talk to some more theists. I mean, we're only an hour and 20 minutes into the evening. And I'm not sure, Ian, how late you want to go tonight, but I guess it really depends on if we get callers or not. It's like,
I can go just full 3 hours. We have supers. Maybe it would be wise to.
We do. I don't know. Do I have any way to look at supers?
Yeah, it's the funding tab.
Yeah, we don't normally look at supers on Sunday, but hey, you know what? If we got dead air, it's better than dead air. So I'm going to go ahead and break protocol, and we're going to read some supers, folks.
Oh, wait. Okay, wait. We'll see.
Oh, there's them in the queue.
We'll see.
Yeah, folks in the audience, blame the person in the queue. But hey, you know what? I like your idea, Ian. Let's at least read one or two. Let's see here. How do I bring this up? Q?
The funding?
Yeah, I mean, I see the super chats.
Okay.
I see 2 buttons. One says Q and one says send. I hit send. Where to go?
Oh, did you want it on the screen? Because I have to do that. Oh, wait, no, you know what? Actually, it's totally not set up to do that on this profile. I do not have the ability unless I fix it, but that'll take longer than I want to do.
Okay, yeah. Don't want to throw any curveballs at our producer tonight. So
reasonable.
We could just read them, but I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see about
we have
that.
A theist coming up, I think.
Hopefully.
If the cult history is anything.
Hopefully. Well, we have a name. John, he, him, and Florida.
Yeah, just give me a minute.
Calls. All right. We're almost there, folks. Very professional here over on the line after dark. But yeah, no, I really enjoy like listening to stuff on like, future potential for like civilizations. Cause I'm a big like sci-fi buff. I like space. I love technology. I mean, I do it for a career. I'm basically a software developer essentially for a career. The stuff really, really like tickles my brain in the right way. And I love thinking about all the possibilities that we could potentially, enjoy as a species if we can just simply get past this like really tumultuous time of technology advancing so rapidly that we really have no idea what to do with it or use it responsibly, and how much of a dangerous situation that can put us into. And it's both fascinating and like deeply terrifying with kind of what we're going through right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think these calls are ready. It says unscreened, so I guess we're just going to bring in somebody. Neither of these. Okay, I'll bring this one. This one definitely says everything's changed. Things are changing as I read it. Okay, I'm just going to bring in John.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hello, John. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, how are you? How's the brick on the head from earlier?
Oh, it's John from the earlier
cool story. So I heard
call.
Your story. Yeah, that was a real cool story that you told. That was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, cinder block fell on my head, and I was lucky. But at the time, I thought it was angels. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it reminds me. Yeah, no, it reminds me when, like, for example, in science, we say, we used to think back in the day we knew where rainbows came from, and God made rainbows or thunder or whatever, or lightning, and today we just say, of course, it's just science and that. But if you look at all the details, the atoms, the electrons, everything that's behind rainbows and whatever's needed, you can still say God made them. You know what I mean? Like from that.
Well,
argument.
you can say it, but the question is, are you right about it? That's the crux of it.
Yeah. No, of course.
Why would you want to say it, or like what would justify you in saying it?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was only calling because I saw the title "Bible is Junk" and I wanted to comment on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you have to say about that?
Because I'm a former atheist, I think I've said that before. I agree. The Bible is written by non-scientists, not modern, backwards, who knows in which way. They barely knew anything from anything. They're still learning about morality. They barely know about God. Whatever God is, they didn't know about him. So, of course, they're going to mumble, jumble, left and right, screw up a bunch of stuff, but that's not what we mean when we say the Bible's accurate. With that context, the Bible's accurate. So, if for example, I would say Abraham was the first person to have the grand unifying theory that science is so desperately trying to find today. That doesn't mean Abraham knew modern science. He just happened to do something that landed him on the grand unifying theory that we're trying to find so hard today.
Where at all is Abraham linked with a grand unifying theory?
Genesis 1 through 31.
I always start my statements, as you know, with "if God exists," because obviously you guys are atheists and I'm a former atheist, and even now me being an theist, does not mean God is self-evident. Hello?
Yeah. So, okay, here's what I'm curious about. We're curious, like, where's the grand unifying theory? Where is this? Where can I verify that he has a grand unifying theory?
Well, the grand unifying theory is just a scientific name for God, because if he exists, then he is the grand unifying theory.
Sounds like a conflation of terms to me.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I think God is actually like quite a bad explanation for things. You can make literally any set of data compatible with a God. It doesn't make any specific predictions. And what's more, when you start to find ways to make specific predictions, it just starts failing. So maybe what you want to do is you want to take God's properties and, he's all good and he's all powerful and he's all knowing. And then, okay, so he's a perfect being. Well, we would expect perfectly designed methods of communicating with us, but we don't have that. Instead, we have a bunch of books that are full of inaccuracies and then damage their own credibility with these inaccuracies. If God's perfect, if he wants to communicate with us perfectly, then I don't know, he would make the Bible all himself so that there isn't any like lost in translation confusion. I actually think the Muslim story is far more plausible, that God just comes down and gives the book himself.
No, because the fundamental feature of our universe is freedom.
How would it take away freedom for God to come down and give the book?
This is why he didn't kill Satan, right? Satan has done more evil than any human being.
John, did God give Moses the 10 Commandments?
Not in the way you think.
No, hold on. I'm asking you. What did God do with the 10 Commandments when he gave them to Moses? Like, how was that transferred to Moses?
That's the key. That's not an easy
I'm asking you.
Unpack.
I'm asking you, John, how did God do that?
I know. I have to explain it. It's not just one. I need time to explain it.
But details aside, God gave Moses the 10 Commandments and no freedom was denied, right?
Freedom is never not denied. Even in Mary's case, when the angel asked
John, my point is, Ian said that
God raped Mary.
Oof.
No, he did not. He asked for her permission. I'm trying to use.
John,
in other words, freedom is always.
John, the point is, Ian asked you and made the comment that, hey, the Islam story is better because that's just God giving the information to Muhammad in a cave. And you say, no, we can't do that. That takes away freedom. And yet that's exactly what God did with Moses. And you're saying, no, that didn't take away freedom. So there's an inconsistency in your position here.
No, because God did not do that with Moses.
So the Bible is just full of lies. Like how much of the Bible is just lies?
No. The Bible has to be interpreted. That's the problem. Is that many human beings misinterpret. Even the religious people, they misinterpret the Bible. They don't take it the way it's written, and they don't take all the context. And for example, exactly like your point.
Do we need to read? Do we need to read? Do we need to read the passage where God gave Moses the 10? Do we need to read the passage where God gave Moses the 10 Commandments and then have that interpreted to us, or just simply do the words to simply mean what they mean because it's a story?
You can't do that with the Bible. It's both, because there's symbolism. There's some that are literal, like for example, eat poison. I forget what, because I don't have it memorized.
You're talking about the pseudo ending to Mark.
What about one where you cut? Yeah, or what about cut off your hand before
John,
you John,
I'm specifically talking about. John, you're trying to go a mile a minute here. You need to slow down because we're asking you very, very specific questions, and you're kind of glossing over your talking point. In the Bible, there is a passage, a story about God giving Moses the 10 Commandments. It is put in there as a historical tale. And you're saying, no, that's not what God did because you have to interpret it in this specific way. First of all, why do you think you need...
what I'm saying. Oh, sorry.
No, you said, maybe I misheard, but you said, no, you have to interpret it in a certain way.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah, why do you have to interpret a historical tale outside of what the words actually say? Why is that even needed?
Because God doesn't always, if hardly ever, just dictate to a human being what to write down on paper. Those words came from human beings that, I'm trying to explain. Those words came from human beings that first 100% knew God existed. Then the mode of communication is opened up for God to tell Moses what to write down. That's why prophets are so few.
So Moses just wrote a bunch of lies?
No.
Is it true? Did Moses write down a bunch of truths?
Yes.
When Moses is writing that God gave him these tablets, was that just a lie? Did Moses just lie to us? Why wouldn't God choose better prophets?
No, he didn't lie. It's just that back for the population back then, what is true? What is exactly true?
Is it true when it says that God gave him the tablets? Is that true?
God gave him the tablets? I mean, we don't know. We weren't there. So it could be he found some rocks and then through.
Have you read this story before?
Told them what to write.
Have you read the story about Moses getting the 10 Commandments from God? This is pretty clearly explained in there. Yeah, I understand, but this is pretty clearly explained in there. God gave Moses the commandments. I think the Bible says that God wrote it with his own hand in the stone and gave them to Moses.
But so what? Just because it's in the Bible does not mean that it automatically, that's what happened. We were not there. We don't have a time machine.
So now you're in a position. So now you're in a position of saying, hey, if this one thing in the Bible is not true or is as it presents itself, that throws the rest of the Bible into question. And on top of that, you have no reliable mechanism by which to determine which passages in the Bible are literal, which ones are figurative, which ones are just stories and fables, and which ones are truth. You're at a point now where the Bible is now just this useless. This Bible's a useless book for when it comes to finding truth.
I completely agree with you.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's a weird place for us to be agreeing.
On the previous show, that's why on the previous show we said, don't start with the Bible because no book.
But do you believe in the Bible? Like, are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Also, to be clear, you brought the Bible up. What are you doing?
Not by. Well, I'm a Christian, but not by, not with leaving my brain on the floor. Not by saying, here's a book. You better believe it's true, so therefore it is. That's
so.
You're not using common sense.
As a Christian, John.
Wait. You're not giving me a chance.
Wait, John, you've been yapping. John, we can't have you yap for longer. What we need is answers to the questions. We need clear answers. We don't need more yapping. Please. We're just trying to get clear on this. Let's say I give you a verse. How do you determine whether or not that verse is true?
You can't.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, then I guess we just can't determine any verse in the Bible as being true.
The entire Bible is now rendered unreliable because we have no method to determine whether any of the verses in it are true.
We have to use critical thinking skills like you do in science.
But that's a method.
You don't just get a book and... Right. You don't just
you just told us in one breath that there's no way to. You just told us in one breath there's no way to do it, and now in the very next breath you say, but you use common sense and logic or whatever, critical thinking. You just gave us a method.
Correct.
So you're saying there's no method, then you tell us there's a method. Like you're contradicting yourself here.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean. I guess because I'm not I'm also trying to put my thoughts together as I talk to you guys. So. There is a method, but the method isn't just like you read it and it's automatically true or false. Like we all agree that if someone gives you a book, it's using our critical thinking and just through discussion and
is it vibes?
Through
do you just like read it and get the vibes of it?
How do you know 2 + 2 is 4?
You can verify that empirically. You can verify that by definition. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of different ways to verify that.
I can demonstrate it right here.
No, if I put 3 apples on the table, 3 red apples on the table in front of you, and 2 apples next to it, that's self-evident to be true that that's 5 apples. There's no...
But you said 2 + 2, and now you're changing it. It's like actually, Ian's on the right track here. Look at the screen. So. Demonstration.
Yeah, well, I'm not confusing it if I'm going 2 + 2 to 2 + 3.
You are.
We're just trying to get clear.
We're just...
Because you're trying to undermine our ability to look at something as simple as 2 + 2 = 4, and our confidence and our ability to know that to be true. You're trying to attack that in an effort to bring this very established, well documented, clear understanding that we have in reality, and you're trying to bring it down to the Bible and make them equal. And we're not going to let you do that.
No.
Let's just get like a straightforward verse.
It starts from the fun.
Let's take Exodus 20. Wait. Sorry. Let's take Exodus 20. Let's talk me through your method. So I have the 10 commandments. Then God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol, whether in the form of anything that is in heaven above or that on earth below. Or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord, your God, am a jealous God, punishing children for the iniquity of parents of the 3rd and 4th generation of those who reject me. You can't go very far in Exodus without finding horrors. But okay, this that section? Did that section happen? And how do you know? How did you determine that?
It happened not because God has problems, because humans have problems. It's kind of like saying, why doesn't God stop all wars right now? Yes, it happened, but not because...
Okay, wait, so this is a quote from God. Yes. God did say these words.
Hold on. You guys are asking me questions, but you're not giving me time to answer.
You're not answering. Categorically, you're not answering. Did God say these words?
That's not how it works, because again, I said earlier.
All right, John, we're sorry. You're like breaking our brains here because you're giving us like contradictory information. Exodus 20 verse 1. This verse is 6 words long. Exodus 20 verse 1. Then God spoke all these words. How do you interpret that?
Who wrote those words down?
Traditionally,
or a human being
traditionally, it's ascribed to Moses. I'm answering. Traditionally, it's ascribed to Moses, but in reality, we don't know. But
we do know.
When it says, then God spoke all these, when God spoke all these words, how else can you interpret that other than God spoke all these words?
Because God can speak through a human's thoughts as long as the human knows 100% that God exists. It's not like God is taking a pen and be like, here, write this exactly as I say it. That's not the way it works. That's why freedom is fundamental. Because freedom is fundamental. In other words, if God is visible,
why not just pop the tablets into existence?
I know, but I'm trying to explain something.
Well, wait, I don't give a fuck about what you're trying to explain. Why not just pop the tablets into existence?
To who? To the whole world, or just to Moses?
Yeah. Why not? To the whole world.
Bibbidi boppity boop.
Sure. No. He can't do it. He won't do it to the whole world.
Why not?
Because it hasn't happened. Because that's what I was trying to point out on the earlier show.
Why not? Why wouldn't he?
Okay, you asked me 3 times, and I'm trying to explain it one time. That's because right now, if God was visible in front of both of you, you both would have the option to choose not to have a world view where God doesn't exist. That's why I meant on the first that he allows for maximum freedom. He wants human beings to be able to say, I choose to believe that God doesn't exist. That freedom is taken away if he's just visible in the sky and he does all these crazy miracles for every human being to see.
God is incapable. God is incapable.
Natural laws that we study. One more thing. Natural laws in science is because God is gentle, not because science made God or any crazy things. Because even science has a religion that's a whole other discussion called uniformitarianism.
So if God were to appear in front of us right now and give us beyond a shadow of a doubt that he exists, is God capable of doing that and won't, or is God incapable of doing that?
He's capable of doing it, but he's waiting for your permission.
Okay, wait. So I have a question. Did you take away our freedom by you calling in? Because you've now made it such that I can't have a worldview where you don't exist.
Yep.
Oh, wait, that's a double standard.
Yeah.
If you calling in, I can no longer have a worldview where you don't exist. If that doesn't take away my freedom, then God revealing himself to me, well, I couldn't have a worldview where God doesn't exist. It's one or both.
Ian denied my free will. Ian denied my free will just an hour and a half ago when I first met him, and I verified that, hey, Ian's real. I'm interacting with him. He denied my free will to freely believe that he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right, but there's a power imbalance. Like the best I can give you an analogy is if King Trump wants to date, for example, with some 25-year-old girl in another country, and let's say he owns the entire world. And he goes up to her and let's say he wants her to go on a date. She's going to be intimidated to say yes.
What the fuck?
It's a question about whether or not you can form.
It's a power.
The effect. Wait, sorry. That's separate. Wait. You're moving the goalpost. You were literally moving the goalposts. The goalposts earlier. The reason why he couldn't show up is because it takes away our freedom. Because we could no longer not believe in him. But when you call in, I can no longer not believe in you. It's the exact same thing.
Right, but I'm not. No, I have no power over you. I'm not intimidating you.
Can I now choose to believe that you don't exist?
You denied our free will in refusing that you exist. You have power over that. In fact, you have more power than God in that respect because God can't or won't do it. You have more ability than God does.
No, because me. That's why he actually chose. You guys are bringing up a great point. That's why he actually chose to come down as a human being. He wants the gentlest possible way to communicate, which is. That's why it's important for human-to-human interactions to gently introduce himself to human beings.
So I don't think God came down as a human being because I choose to interpret those scriptures that describe him coming down as a human being as meaning something else. So now what? Because you just made a claim that comes from the Bible, and yet for some reason for those claims, you're taking those claims literally. But when we ask you for other claims in the Bible, now it's all of a sudden this mysterious, convoluted process of the words don't mean what they mean. You have to have critical thinking, and God has to will it that you understand. Like John, this process of yours, it's a mess. It's inconsistent. This is like borderline insanity, what you're trying to present to us here.
I mean, like, why can't it be both? Because we know that the Bible has two different. Like if you read,
you
one
don't know
one part
anything
of the Bible,
about the Bible. You don't know anything about the Bible because you said so earlier. You said that every scripture in the Bible, we have no method to determine whether that scripture is true or not. You can't make any truth claims about the Bible with that position.
That's not the claim I made. I thought I made the claim that if a human being, I was making the claim that if a human being knows for sure that God exists, then there's a mode of communication between God and that person to be able to tell what's true and what's false in the Bible. Right now, as it stands, you can't just throw the Bible at 1,000 people and say, "Here you go, interpret it the way you think it's true," which is, it just explains the many different interpretations of it in the first place. Kind of like if I give a calculus book to a non-math major, they're not going to be able to understand that book. They're going to interpret it in some weird way.
No, I don't think that's the case at all. No, school textbooks are structured in a way for you to learn it and to learn it in only one way. Back in college, I took a technical writing class back in college. The goal of this class was to learn how to write and give instruction in a way that's non-ambiguous, clear, and that maximizes the number of people who will understand it and do the task correctly. In fact, for the final exam in that class, me and my group were tasked to make a step-by-step instruction on how to take Lego and build a certain structure with it. And we failed if we were to give that to groups of people in the class, and they failed to meet that criteria. They failed to build it as we described. That means it was a problem on our part for not communicating the instructions clearly. We passed because we paid attention to the technical writing class. We took it seriously that, hey, if we're going to write something and we want to actually communicate information to these people, we need to be very careful, very deliberate. We weren't denying anybody's free will by doing this. And we passed. The thing you're setting up with God having given us this book with no clear method or mechanism by which to interpret it accurately, and that can be demonstrated by the fact that we have like a bazillion Christian denominations today that disagree on just about every single minuscule point in the Bible.
Correct.
Means that God would have failed my technical writing class. Now, is that the case? Would God fail my technical writing class? Or maybe this God doesn't exist, or this God didn't actually write this book, or maybe what you're just making up is just what it is, made up. What do I go with at this point, John? Like what do I go with? I have these four options. God exists, but he's entirely incompetent. God exists, but he's entirely incompetent. Or these other explanations where, hey, there is really no God involved. This is just humans struggling and valuing a book that probably is overvalued for the most part in our world. Like, what should I choose?
You would at first choose exactly like the common sense, logical thing you're choosing right now, which is it's a book of junk. And God would understand. That's completely normal. He's not asking you to drop your brain on the.
Will God punish me for? Will God punish me for not believing?
No, absolutely not. This is a bunch of crap that Christians think that is not true, which makes it worse for everyone else.
So you think just everybody? Do you think everybody just goes to heaven then, when they die, no matter what?
For the most part, yeah, because Satan. Mostly yes. For example, like I said earlier, Satan has committed, if he exists, has committed way more evil than any single human being that we can discuss. And he hasn't killed him, and he's actually enjoying hell, right? Because why would Satan be tempted to separate if it's such torture?
How do you know any of this? You have no way to determine whether these passages you're getting this information from is true.
Correct. That's why.
He doesn't know any of it.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is, to know these things, you can't drop common sense. I was going to say earlier, God made, if he exists, he made the brain before he made the Bible. He made the human being before he made the Bible. You can't.
None of this is common sense. None of what you've said has been common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
none of what you've said so far has been intuitive at all.
We're all in agreement on that. Yeah, we're all in agreement on that part. The problem is what science. The science is great, but there's and I'm using the word religion loosely here. There's a religious aspect of science that that a lot of people don't know, and that's another discussion. That's another, like, if science has a religion and religions have religions, then it's a matter of just choosing the right worldview that's out there.
How about we choose it based on the evidence?
Like another big, huge topic.
Yeah. How about we? I'm with Ian. Let's just choose our conclusions based on the evidence, because we know that's the most reliable method.
Yeah. We can just evaluate the evidence. I don't think a perfect God would say something or would like put forward a method that's as stupid as the method that you're saying you put forward. Historically, people using their common sense have interpreted it to be literal at most places. And then eventually over time, when science came in and started tearing shit up, they had to start interpreting it as metaphors. This was people using their common sense. They came to different conclusions than you. Why would God use such an unreliable method?
Because you have to remember, the modern science and the scientific method is relatively new. We didn't have that for you can go back in history, till...
you don't come to the same conclusions that the ancient people do about the Bible. The ancient people are going to interpret all the verses from Exodus as being literally true.
According to John, God was just simply unable to do any better until science and investigation and a more robust and refined ways of coming to truth came along. God's hands were just tied, according to John. I think.
Of course, he
couldn't have done anything.
It's no different than telling a 5-year-old about a rainbow versus an 18-year-old about a rainbow.
Gosh, yeah. God, and who was responsible for making our intellectual capabilities what they were? Who had the power to make us just way smarter, such that we could have understood it?
Ooh, maybe we're smarter than God. Maybe that was the best God could do, and then we came along and invented a better way. And God's like, "Oh, whoa, these humans, that's a good idea."
Well, then he's absolutely useless.
Maybe I'll do that.
And he's useless.
Yeah, I grant that.
Just
if
maybe.
We're smarter than God, then there's no God.
But do you have any evidence that God exists or that Christianity is true? Maybe to get this on track.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually used this analogy earlier on the earlier phone call with about the calculus.
I am begging you. I don't want the analogy. I want the evidence.
Well, I'm just really quick. I can show you.
I don't care. I super don't care.
John, do you remember the question that Ian just asked you?
Yeah, he's saying, what's the evidence that God exists?
Okay, yeah. So an analogy is not going to be an evidence. Just we're asking for some evidence.
Please, fast forward 15 minutes.
Okay, well,
to the evidence.
Okay, hypothetically, I'm going to try.
He's going to give the analogy anyway against our consent.
Okay. Earlier. So sorry, John. Just pause for 1 second. Hey, Ian, remember before the stream, I was telling you about the caller that gave me 3 premises. Each one began with "If God exists, then X, Y, Z."
Is that
this?
This is John. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we asked for evidence, and he immediately went into, well, hypothetically, he's John. So, you're doing it again. This is the exact thing I pointed out to you in the previous conversation we had. You're trying to present premises, but each of your premises begins with "if God exists" or hypothetically. It's those aren't really useful to us. We're asking for evidence that the God exists, not what God's existence entails. What's the evidence for this God?
Okay, am I allowed to ask a question, or I have to go right to the evidence?
We're going to ask you. We're telling you to go right to the evidence.
Please just go right to the evidence.
Time for questions is over. Time for evidence.
Okay, so if you want me to go right to the evidence, I don't have evidence to give you through a phone that God is real, just like that. It doesn't work that way. Is that all you guys want?
I mean, if that's your answer and that's your honest answer, fine.
I have to be honest, because if God is the truth.
Okay, I hung up on him. I can't do it.
We hang in there as long as we could.
Yeah.
Bill.
I wish I had better comedic timing. I would have dropped him right after he said no. I don't have any evidence.
I think you know what, John, you seem like a nice guy. No hard feelings. But John, that last comment where you said I don't have evidence to give you, I think that was probably your most honest statement the entire night.
True.
So I commend you for that. That's probably a hard bullet to bite.
Luckily, we have 2 other guests on the line who are
absolutely
theists.
We absolutely do. So atheists in this queue, I'm so sorry. Blame Jimmy. He's not here to defend himself. Blame Jimmy. Let's bring in another theist. We're going to go ahead and bring in James. Hello, James. How are you doing?
I am doing good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
You know, good. I'm getting my second win. I'm perking up. But yes, we hear you.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to be on here. And yeah, so I guess, I don't know, we could just jump into it. But yeah, for me, one fundamental reason I believe God exists is because I don't believe non-living matter produced living matter on its own. That's one. I'm Christian for other reasons, but if you're just asking about God specifically, that's my starting point. I'm happy to answer questions about that.
Yeah, why couldn't the laws of physics produce living matter from non-living matter? Like, why couldn't it be the case that we know like amino acids will form on their own. We know that they can come together to form proteins. We know that through like a couple different steps later, we're able to get eventually to what is it, like nucleic acid? We're able to get nucleotide pairs, which will then form like RNA fragments. We know that some of these RNA fragments in a specific sequence will be self-replicating with metabolism. And it's like unlikely, but it's not even that unlikely given the scale of the universe. In fact, it's basically guaranteed given the scale of the universe, and that some of these RNA fragments that are self-replicating with metabolism will get surrounded by phospholipid bilayers, which will then produce more copies of themselves, and they're enclosed. So why couldn't that be how life comes about? Something like that.
Well, that sounds good. I think that there's a lot of, like you said, it's highly unlikely. There's a lot required there. I think you do get to a point where it's so unlikely. There are certain things that we would say are effectively impossible when they're so highly unlikely. But the way
I think you confused my statement. I think that you're misrepresenting me a little bit. The statement is that for any one given connection of like nucleotides, that it will be self-replicating with metabolism. It's unlikely for any one given one to be the one. I think the number is like 10 to the 77th, like 1 in 10 to the 77th. But given the scale of the universe, it becomes a statistical inevitability. If you bought 1 trillion lottery tickets, you would win the lottery. It's a question of how many opportunities there are. So it's not accurate to say that it's unlikely given the entire scale of the universe.
Even here on just planet Earth, people tend to think like, oh, Earth is just one attempt out of however many, 10 to the 77 or 71. I forget the exact number you just used. But people tend to look at Earth and go, oh, that's just one chance. That's just one roll of the dice in this scenario. But Earth's vast. It has many ecosystems. Earth itself is multiple rolls of the dice when it comes to this. All it takes is for one of them to hit and that life to take root and start replicating. Like Earth's not just one attempt. Earth itself is numerous attempts, countless attempts.
So let's say if I ask you how complicated, I'm not a biologist, but if I ask you how complicated the DNA, let's say the human genome is. So for example, if we were to compare it to, I don't know, let's say we're talking about the amino acids, the ATGCs, right, the 4 characters, and we compare those to a 26-letter alphabet, and then we talk about, let's say, a book. Let's say we say Moby Dick, and the sequence of letters that it would be required to produce Moby Dick, and we were to say that if you were to run a machine that's just producing random letter sequences, how long would it take to get a Moby Dick where you have, 500 pages, and that you would get this story that would be logical in English? How is that less likely than like the human genome, or more likely, for example?
Substantially less likely on account of the fact that after the initial genome for the very first cell forms, at that point, there's going to be specific selection for things that can survive and reproduce better. So evolution is in some sense aimed towards survival and reproduction, such that these are the genes that will get selected. So it's not totally random, but rather the things that are good at surviving and reproducing, well, those things are going to get selected, and then the previous generation is going to get built off of by the new generation of genes.
Well, okay. Well, let me pause real quick. Here, I'm gonna sidestep what you just said. Not to say that I'm avoiding it, but here's how I would kind of break it down. Why I believe this. So you guys can help me out if this is arranged improperly. So for me, either the first life came from non-life on its own, or it did not. Second,
on its own? It came from laws of physics.
Well, that I would consider that on its own. So you would
okay,
say,
I don't think that's accurate to say that it's on its own.
Well, nature, or from nature, I would say. So
sure,
right,
yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with
nature. That. Okay.
Yeah.
So either the first life came from nature on its own, or it did not. That's my, And then secondly,
sure,
non-life on Earth has not been observed producing life. We haven't observed.
Have we observed? By any chance, have we observed? I don't know. Have we observed minds without brains? Have we observed? Immaterial life? Have we observed either of those things?
But hear me. I didn't even talk about immaterial life yet.
But question: have we observed either of those things?
Well,
minds without brains or non-cellular life. Have we observed either of those things?
Can you address what I said first?
Yeah,
and then I'll respond to that.
Addressing what you said directly. God is not the right candidate. God is not going to be alive under any definition of life.
But here's what I'm saying. What I said was non-life on Earth has not been observed producing life. I'm just asking you, would you agree?
No, I agree with that. Yeah. Now, would you agree with me that we've never observed a mind without a brain?
Yes, correct.
Okay, sure. And would you agree with me that we've never observed life coming from, or we've never observed a form of life that isn't material, made out of matter?
I agree. I agree.
Well, then we have two
but if you allow me to run I'm sorry?
So we have two inductions against God is what just happened.
Well, if you allow me to finish this logic, you'll see that it's not that I'm trying to do precisely that what you just said. So the next part is that life on Earth has been observed producing life. Would you agree there?
Yep. Cellular life specifically has been observed to produce cellular life.
Sure. Yes. As a result, I have less reason to believe that non-life or nature produced life, and I have more reason to believe that life produced life.
Then you believe in an infinite regress of cellular life.
Well, what I would say is that
if all cellular life comes from cellular life, then it never comes from God. This literally refutes you.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Now, the first life, if we're to say that there was a first life, that would mean that
there be a first life under this criteria as opposed to an infinite regress?
Because if I believe that the Earth was a molten hot rock, which I have no problem believing that, and there is no life in this molten hot rock, and at some point it was, I guess, dirt and just chemicals. I can be fine accepting that, but what I'm saying is, if life begins to exist on this planet at some point, so then for me, the life that would be required to bring about the first life would have to be a higher life form than what was.
It would need to be cellular, wouldn't it? Wait, have we ever observed cellular life coming from non-cellular? Wait, have we ever observed cellular life coming from non-cellular life? Brutal.
No.
Yeah, exactly, right. So it would need to come from cellular life form.
And that's what I'm saying.
Wouldn't it?
Well,
the first life form on Earth would need to come from a cellular life form, wouldn't it? By your very logic.
No.
Oh no.
No.
Well, then I guess I don't grant that it would need to come from life at all. Then.
I mean, this is the classic. Hey, we're going to apply this logical process of induction to this like question of the chain of life. But then once the question gets difficult, we can then just like jettison this process and then just jump to a God or jump to something bigger than this process. Like this is not a reasonable way of approaching this.
But here's what I'm saying: we both agree, or all three of us agree, that the life came about from the Earth. So Christians and atheists agree there that life came from the Earth. Now I'm trying to avoid invoking the Bible for the explanation. I'm not doing that, but I'm saying that the life required to bring about the first cellular life would have to be higher than cellular life, whatever that means. I don't know.
But what if it's not life?
That would mean. Well, we haven't seen life come from something that does not have life. So we
haven't seen cellular life come from something that isn't cellular life. It cuts both
Sure, but
ways.
we have
These
seen life
inductive
come from
arguments
life.
cut both ways.
Well, I'm saying, okay, so what I'm saying is I simply have more reason. I have more,
No, you
or I have
don't.
less
You have the
reason
same
to
amount
believe
of
that it will
reason.
come.
You have the same amount of reason.
I have less reason to believe that non-life, something that's a rock chemicals that were there, produced life rather than life producing life, because I've seen life come from life. I just have less reason to believe that.
Have you ever seen cellular life come from non-cellular life? Why shouldn't we assume that the very first life form came from more cellular life? The induction cuts both ways.
Life?
Yes.
Well, because we're saying that the Earth was at some point
but why not aliens?
Of life, devoid of life.
Why not just an infinite regress of cellular life?
Yeah, if exactly the infinite regress would
then
cause
we never get to God.
Whether we take it to aliens. Well, I'm just saying I have more. That's the reason I have more reason. Now,
you don't have more reason. We just proved that.
Yeah, you don't. Well, James, you not only have more reason, but you have a greater burden of proof because you're bringing in these other factors into the equation without justification.
Like, well, wait, here's a point. Have we ever seen violations of the conservation of momentum or the conservation of energy? The answer is no.
No.
Yeah, never. No. So, because we've never observed this, God creating life would be a violation of these principles, would it not?
I don't think. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yes. I would say yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
But if
from the
life
Christian,
comes from non-life, then there's no violation of these principles that are even better observed than life coming from life.
Okay. So I'm going to have to, I would then have to make it easier, I would have to then go to the creation story from the Bible to kind of help you understand there, if that's okay. So
why even believe that story? Well, why even believe that story though? Like, why are you bringing this creation story to the table as if it has any veracity?
Okay.
Why should we even consider this? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the possibility of the supernatural at that point. So let me not do that. I'm just saying life. I wouldn't believe that it came from non-life. I don't have the reason enough to believe that. So we can stop it there. And then I would say intelligent design would help explain better as far as the genome, the human DNA sequence or DNA or life DNA at all, as to why we would assume that there was a higher life form. I feel that when I watched some of Ian's videos in the past, I think he has he may misunderstand intelligent design, or maybe I haven't heard or seen a video where he's given a good explanation of it. So I was going to ask if Ian could explain what he understands the intelligent design argument to be.
So here's something that I'm curious about. My kidneys produce rocks. Do you think that's intelligently designed, that my kidneys produce rocks that I have to piss out like they're shards of glass? Is that like an instance of intelligent design?
No.
What about when I eat dairy and I have like acid reflux and I'm like hacking up a lung? Like, is that intelligent design?
No, not at all. That is not what intelligent design is arguing or entailing at all.
Okay.
So can I go for it?
So the configuration of my body right now, there's at least some aspect of it that's not intelligently designed.
Incorrect. That is not what intelligent design. That's not the proper question for intelligent design. The intelligent design argument.
Would intelligent design entail? Wouldn't intelligent design entail design which is intelligible, right? Because we can look at all. We can look at all.
But
really?
No.
Intelligent design does not. Intelligent design does not mean design which is intelligible.
Incorrect. That is not what it means. That is not what it means. So intelligent design, the word intelligent there is talking about the agent that is doing the designing. So whether what level of intelligence they would have. So it's not that the design that you're looking at is intelligent. It's that the agent doing it was intelligent. So here's how you can look at it. The intelligent design argument is basically saying that there are arrangements of certain things that can indicate what level of intelligence would be necessary to arrange them. Are you guys with me so far?
Can you repeat that one more time? Say it one more time.
Sure. So the intelligent design argument, it's saying that there are arrangements of certain things that can indicate what level of intelligence would be necessary to arrange them or to put them in that configuration.
That presupposes that they were arranged by an intelligence in the first place.
No, it doesn't.
Wait, what level of intelligence would be required to put God together?
That's the wrong question for intelligence design.
That's the exact right question. What level of intelligence would be required to put God together? Answer the question.
You have to assume a God in that question. You'd have to assume a God in that question, and then we don't know anything about the arrangement of a God.
Yeah.
No.
What level of intelligence would be required to make a God? What level?
We're seeking consistency here, James. So we're going to want you to answer Ian's question.
It would. I mean, that's such a crazy question. Yeah, I can't even answer it because that's not what intelligent design is even talking about.
Well, but that's what I'm bringing it to. Why not assume God's intelligently designed? What level of intelligence would you need to design a God? That's why I believe in super God and then mega God after him, and then ultra turbo God after that one.
Sure. I'll go with you. So if a God was designed, it would require a God higher than that God to do it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Cool. That's consistent with what you're telling us about life here on Earth.
For sure. So here's how it would work. So it's like I'm going to give you a couple of levels. Sure. So I'll give you a couple levels of like how we can start off with what necessary level of intelligence would be required. So let's say you just have a plain, like a rounded stone. There's no markings on it. There's just a round stone, right? What would be sufficient to be brought as an explanation for the existence of this just a oval round stone? Well, you could say that there was a person that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could say the water in a river produced this. You could also say that there was a jagged rock that a person came and rubbed down and finally rubbed down to become that. But it wouldn't be necessary to invoke a person or a being doing that. It's sufficient to say that nature has done that because we've seen water do that to rocks before. So though a level of human intelligence would be able to do it, it would be sufficient to say that nature has produced that rock. Okay, so let's say now the second option. Let's say you have a stone and you have scratch marks on it, right? Now, again, it could be that there was a tree or rock, falling things that fall on the rock, or it could be a person was scratching on a rock. We don't know who. It could be a person, but it's not necessary to invoke a human or an intelligence above anything other than nature or even animal intelligence. So in this case, you could have nature, you could have animal intelligence, you could have human intelligence, but it's sufficient to simply say nature. So that's the second one. Third is, let's say you have a stone with multiple sets of claw-like scratches at different angles, so parallel scratches on it in sets of 3. Now you're going to be hard pressed to invoke nature in this sense. If you put animal outside of nature, it's going to be hard to say, okay, there was something producing those parallel lines, even of the same length, multiple times on one rock. You could say claw scratches. It could be an animal with sharp claws doing it, or it could be a human being that came through and took their time to make that happen. It's not necessary to invoke humans there. So again, the level of intelligence to produce this design, to produce this effect, this feature, would be animal. So animal would be sufficient. Nature would not be sufficient in that case.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so
do you guys agree so far?
I got a quick clarifying question. So let's say that there was some code and it was totally useless. It was gibberish. It was arranged in no particular order. The lines had no connection between each other. And there's some lines that don't do anything at all. And there's some lines that actively undermine the entire code in the first place. Do you think it might be fair to think that this code is randomly generated?
No, because
made by a
you're
moron,
saying that
perhaps?
there's functional. Would it be
reasonable to think that it was made by a moron?
So you're saying that there's some parts of it are functional, is that what you're saying?
So some of the parts are functional, but the parts that are functional, they're like randomly distributed throughout. There's no relation between the parts that are functional. They're interspersed with parts that are useless. In fact, there are some parts that are so useless that they undermine the entire code.
Yeah, it's a lot like James. It's a lot like a cookbook. You're reading through a cookbook, and then all of a sudden you find a page on Civil War history, and then it goes back to the cookbook, and you read some more, and then all of a sudden you have a page on the Bolsheviks, and then you read more, and then all of a sudden it's back to a cookbook. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Then
like
you turn the
gibberish.
page, and it's like a picture of like medical gore, and it traumatizes you for the rest of your life. And then it's back to the cookbook.
Yeah. So in this case, I would say just because that there's useless quote unquote sections, I wouldn't say that that means that it wasn't.
Would you assume that the coder is very intelligent?
Well, so when you say intelligent, again, when we say intelligence, we're not saying how smart they are in the sense of IQ. That's not what it is. It's simply saying that a baby has the intelligence of a human, while a monkey has the intelligence of animal intelligence.
What's James? What's more intelligible? What's more intelligible, James? If you have a cookbook that's 100% consistent throughout a cookbook, you read it every page, it flows into the next, and it's like consistent, and you can bake a beautiful cake with it. What's more intelligible, that book or the book we described earlier with the random pages kind of switched out with other books? Like, which one is more intelligible?
So intelligibility, sure, the cookbook is more intelligible, but we're not talking about intelligibility. That's not what we're talking about.
The thing we brought up, I guess maybe I should have said which one has more of the appearance of intelligent design rather than intelligible. But
okay.
I hope you would agree with me that the consistent cookbook without all the cruft in there is the more intelligently designed thing, or at least has the appearance of being more intelligently designed. What Ian was bringing up earlier was that our DNA is a mess when you look at it. We literally have viral DNA in our genome from ERVs over generations. Like you look at our DNA, and it's a lot like that initial cookbook that we described, where it has just random pages of other books inside of it for no reason. When you look at the two of them, you have to say to yourself, when you look at that, you have to say to yourself, wow, that's a marker against intelligent design.
So here's what I would say. So if you, bringing it back to the code that you guys are talking about there, if you have parts that are recognizable or that can be decoded as being part of a set language, right? The code would be language in that sense. Then you're going to have to accept that somebody did it.
Really? So if I took alphabet soup, let's say I took alphabet soup and I filled like a swimming pool with it, and then you look over, you go through all the alphabet soup, and you say, wow, the word T appears, TEA. You're gonna think that a human wrote that? That's your standard.
No, not at all. That's
sure. So then you're a hypocrite. Your standard contradicts itself. You said one word is sufficient for you to think that a human wrote it.
No, that's not. I don't remember saying one word. But what I'm saying is, if you have functional code as opposed to gibberish. So here's what I'm saying. So Ian, I think you
wait.
code.
So how many words? Right? How many words would it need to be? Yeah, I do code.
Me too.
Okay. Well, how many? So sure. So it would have to. I don't know I don't want to give a specific number, but here's what I would say. It would definitely not be 3 letters. It wouldn't be 4. It wouldn't be 5. But let's say you could see enough code to know whether it's Python, whether it's CSS, whether it's HTML, whether it's Java or whatever. Right? There's a certain amount of code that whether it's 8, 9, 10 characters that you will know that it is.
What if it's a mix of languages in the way that our nucleus DNA is a different language from our mitochondrial DNA, all in the same cell? What then?
That's a lot like looking at the DNA of us and going human DNA, human DNA, human DNA. Oh, virus DNA, human DNA, virus DNA, human DNA.
So then I would say that section of code that is unrecognizable or useless in that sense, that cannot be decoded or whatever, then that section would not. Well,
we're able to like in our genome, we're actually able to extract the viral DNA in our genome and like resurrect the virus in a lab. Like we've done that.
Okay, so then you're talking about functional. So then I would see that as, in that sense, decodable. Decodable. If it's decodable, then it was encoded. We would say that it was encoded. And so so intelligent design, as it relates to the genome, the human genome, we would say that because we've only seen codes produced by humans, then if we have a code in the genome, if we have code in biology,
God
that it
must
would
be
require
human.
an encoder.
Brilliant.
No. It would require an encoder. So we don't say the nature of the encoder at all. That's not relevant to the intelligent design for the argument that
this
there is an
this
encoder.
Would be fire. This would be absolute bomb, if not for the fact that we've empirically observed the genome of creatures evolving over generations. This would be such a fire argument if we didn't know where this genome came from, if we didn't know that it came from evolution, if we aren't literally able to see in a lab, like the genome of, for example, like bacteria evolving over time in order to adapt to its circumstances, like maybe this would be like a really good argument.
No, but that's after the, well, I mean, we're talking about the origin of the code. So the first life and the code there, right? Whatever that code was, whatever that genome was, we're saying that because there was a code that arose, that came about, the first one, not after mutations, not after being changed around, we're saying that that first code would have required encoding. It would have, and so because we've only seen codes produced
that's not granted.
by intelligences.
No, James, you are taking the coding analogy way too far. You're using the coding analogy to import a coder. And while there are similarities, and it's a good teaching tool to explain to, kids in the classroom what DNA is and what DNA does, DNA is not a code. There's no coder behind it. It's only an analogy that we use to help kids learn this. You're taking the analogy and then you're taking it way too far and importing a coder into it.
Yeah, wait, and here's a question for you. How many letters do you think, how many nucleotides do you think the first RNA fragment would need to be?
Don't
you think that's something that's like worth knowing before making the argument? What order of magnitude do you think it would need to be?
Yeah.
Because let's say it's like 3 nucleotide pairs long. You just need to get the right 3 nucleotide pairs. That's trivial.
Mm. If you believe, so you're saying for the first life?
Yeah.
For the first life, you're saying you would posit that it's possible that just 3 nucleotides could do that?
Because obviously, it would just need to be just enough to get going. It wouldn't be as fully developed as we are. It just has to be just enough to get going.
So 3 nucleotides, that would code for one amino, like that would get you to 1 amino acid, I believe. You'd have to have a sequence of amino acids. Let's say, if we're getting to proteins and things like that. But yeah, that's going to code you, as I understand it, that's going to code in the human genome, for example. That's going to give you 1 amino acid. So
how many nucleotides long do you think it would need to be for you to think that it couldn't have just come about? Like, I think that we could get quite a distance in, maybe at like a million, an exact sequence of 1 million. I would be pretty skeptical, although the universe is like huge. So I don't even know if then.
Yeah, and Earth
was one. I would be skeptical.
Earth
if it was,
was
like
one big
long.
petri dish too. Lots of experiments going on in that petri dish.
Whatever the simplest organism would require. Yeah, I don't know what the number is, but it would be more than 3 arrangements of the nucleotide bases, like you just said there.
I'll tell you what it is. It's going to be 150. It's 150. But keep in mind, the universe, we have 2 trillion galaxies, and in each of those 2 trillion galaxies, there are about 200 billion solar systems, each with, I don't know, like 10 or so planets, and then all of the moons. So we have how many celestial objects to get some sequence of 150? All of the atoms on all of the planets, on all of the solar systems and all of the galaxies and the entire universe. All that's needed for life is for one of them, the right sequence for about 150 nucleotides.
And so for you would say that getting to that 150 you see that number one as a simple, easy or simple in the context of a very large universe with many opportunities on Earth. And then that would be for a self-replicating. That would then produce the first organism that would be able to self-replicate. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And then once that process starts of self-replication, and it just keeps on going and exponentially grows out, once the copying mechanism experiences basically an error or a flaw and you have a mutation, now you have a small change added to the system, and that change might be detrimental, that change might be neutral, or it might be beneficial. Beneficial changes are selected for by natural selection, and it promotes the replication of that new form, that new change. And then the process repeats over again and over again and over again. And new things are added and things are taken away. And the environment determines what's selected for. And eventually you got, billions of years of incremental complexity, incremental additions to the complexity of the organism. And now you have what we have on Earth. Because we have demonstrable, like bulletproof evidence that we share our genome with chimpanzees and with the rest of the great apes. And the great apes share their genome and DNA with what came before, the common ancestors that came before it. Even with fruit, we share DNA. We have very clear evidence that this is a process that's ongoing even to today, that all of our DNA is related, and we're more closely related with our great ape cousins. And that you look at this and you map this all out, and it's all going back to a single point in our past. Now, what exactly happened at that point, we don't know. We're still studying it. We just had a major breakthrough with the spud cell revelation. How we basically created from scratch a synthetic cell. We have plenty of evidence to show that this occurred. Sure, there are some gaps in there, but we don't. There's no need for the supernatural in this.
Really quickly for Ian, for the 150, could you cite the source for where you got that?
Yeah, sure. Let me get that.
Just to edify myself and the listeners.
Yeah.
And I apologize to the other host. I didn't get your name. It's my first time seeing your show.
No worries. I'm Eric.
Eric.
Yeah. No worries.
Thank you, Eric, for that. I understand what you just said there. For Ian, I just want to make sure I understand what we're all saying. If we're talking
science.org. Yeah, totally fine. So the source is science.org. Boosting origin of life theory. RNA comes close to copying itself. Once again, boosting origin of life theory. RNA comes close to copying itself on science.org.
I'm looking for that 150 number there.
Yeah. Or wait, sorry. I think this one's saying it would need to be smaller than the 150 number.
Okay.
Oh, this one's even better. This one says 45 bases long. At 45 bases long, they're able to copy themselves. So this is actually even better than I thought.
And so what are they saying? Are they saying that in nature they discovered, or they're saying theoretically they're proposing that this could happen, or in the lab they produced something that can do this?
I think that they're saying that in the lab they produce something like this. Although, of course, if they're producing it in the lab, if it gets produced in nature, well, that's also sufficient.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, if it's already in nature, they wouldn't have to produce it in the lab. But what I would say is, yeah, if it's in the lab, the encoder is a human that's doing it. But that's just supporting the point that we're saying with intelligent design, is that you're going to
you don't want to do that one. Oh, that's so bad faith. Okay, this is easy to tear through. If you get this exact 45 sequences of nucleotide pairs in nature, will it be self-replicating?
If we get it, will it be self-replicating? I guess that's what they're saying. What they're saying.
Well, then it just becomes a question across the entire universe. What are the odds that you get one that's the right 45 bases long?
Okay, let me ask you this question. Would you consider that strand to be life? If it is self-replicating, would you consider it to be life?
I think if it's self-replicating with metabolism, I would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now,
consuming and spending energy to move or do things. Yeah.
Right. So the thing with abio, yeah, you guys are kind of pointing out something very good. The definitions of life, there's going to be variations of like what you would include there. Metabolism comes in there. Sometimes I've seen growth, so like homeostasis, or things like that. So yes, self-replication would be one of them. But yes, you guys are making a good point that metabolism would be something somebody might put in there. So then, if metabolism is in there, would you think that it would that strand, that genome would be more complex?
More complex?
More than 43 bases.
It might be. Although the question is, to which extent? Okay, wait. So I'm looking at it right now. Artificially evolved RNA enzymes that can copy other RNA require a core structure of at least 40 to 50 bases. Okay, that's for catalytic activity. That's not a metabolism, is it? The
because it would come down to whether we consider that life, even if it's self-replicating strands of RNA. Would you consider it life? But yes, you would need to have self-replication at least to be able to start getting life. Absolutely. Yeah. But life itself, I think would be more complex than 43 bases.
And that's the thing too. Like we can tend to think of like life as just this moment. Like we went from non-life to life, and that is not necessarily maybe how it happened. It could have been a gradual process where we have this base function of this replicating proteins. And then we add more to it, and eventually it like gradients into what we would consider life. The kind of the same way that, when you have a Latin speaker, you don't just give birth to an Italian speaker. You have this long succession of small changes until finally we consider it Italian. And the creation of life, or I'm sorry, the formation of life could be the same way. Like there might not be just this event that we can point to and go, this is it.
Well, I think as far as abiogenesis and research and what people are trying to find, I think there is some kind of minimum. There's this minimum like we just said, this minimum set of criteria that once you hit that okay, this is life. I think that happens at one moment. That hitting that criteria happens at one moment.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So,
like that's similar to saying this is the minimum set of criteria for a person to speak Italian. Like where would that be? It's such a gradual change, an incremental change. It's kind of like looking at a color gradient where you have purple on one side, blue on the other, and the purple gradually changes to blue. In the middle, I'm sorry, I take that back. I got my colors mixed up. You have red and blue on both sides of this diagram, and then it transitions between one to the other. Well, at some point, it's going to become very purplish. And where is the line between red and purple? Where is the line between purple and blue? There's probably no answer to that question of where that line is, because it's entirely arbitrary what criteria you pick to say, okay, this is what purple is, this is what red is, this is what blue is. Same thing can be with the fact for the formation of life. It's entirely arbitrary what markers you're looking at for life.
Well, I mean, I'm not the person making up the criteria. There's people much smarter than me that are trying to define those things, but I don't think it's a gradient. Each one of those criteria, there's a hard line. So whatever the hard line that whoever is deciding, chooses, whatever one somebody subscribes to, once it hits that line. So for example, for you and Ian, that metabolism could be thrown in there along with self-replication. You'd have to at least see that. There's somebody else that might not require it, and maybe they just consider self-replicating, RNA as life. And so once you get that, they have life. Okay, but it seems that you'd hit that line at some point. But we don't have to continue on that line. But I just wanted to say that representation of intelligent design. I just wanted to kind of help clarify a bit. What I would say is, if you see a code, if you see something written on a stone, I'm coming back to that stone again. If you have a whole set of sequences of characters on a stone, and then you see a guy walk up to it, and he walks away from the stone, and he builds a house, a blue house with a green roof, and and then another guy walks up to the stone, He walks away and builds a house with a blue house with a green roof. And every time you show this rock to these people in this area, they build this same house, right? And then you get another rock and it has something else, and they're building a different type of house. You even if you don't know who, even if you don't know who put those markings on that stone, you have to believe that because of what you're seeing, you have to say that somebody put those markings on that. Somebody put that stone, those markings on that stone. But that's
not analogous.
Well, okay.
All you need is like a certain sequence of nucleotide pairs to come together, and we know that this can happen via laws of nature. Why would I assume that there's an intelligent designer if laws of nature can suffice? Why would I add something that's superfluous to my worldview?
Because it's not simply the chemistry that we're referring to; it's the arrangement of it that is guiding the processes in the cell, or guiding the building of proteins, or guiding it's not just the bases. It's
guiding.
Not, it's their.
This is just physics. It's physics and chemistry, and there's nothing guiding it. Even right now, you're just physics and chemistry.
So when I say guiding, so for example, we were just talking about three bases that will code for an amino acid, and then that chain of amino acids is going to produce get folded up and make a protein, for example. Now that code in the RNA that gets that DNA that is already there, those sequences are going to determine what protein amino acid is selected for, and then you're going to have proteins that are made based on a sequence of amino acids. So it's the DNA that's determined. It's telling you what's going to be done, but the organelles, the things inside the cell, are going to receive that. We have processes called translation inside the cell, right? Translation. That word translation is not used just because there was no other word. It's just because it's a random word that was chosen. It's because there actually is translation taking place. You have this sequence of just bases, and then you're saying, all right, once I see this sequence, I need to pick this amino acid. This is right, and then you're going to arrange them together. And so what I'm saying is that encoding of that original DNA, we're saying from the intelligent design proponents, we're saying it would have to be encoded by an intelligence that is higher than human or higher than life on Earth, because we've seen humans encode. We've seen it.
So James, that is one elaborate argument from incredulity. You haven't demonstrated that the explanation you're pointing to, you haven't given evidence for, you haven't demonstrated, we can't even test it. And ultimately this argument comes down to, I can't fathom how this came about by natural means, so it wasn't natural means. Like, that's essentially the crux of this entire argument. What?
Well, it's an argument to the best explanation. It's an argument to the best explanation. So what we're saying...
Hold on. No, James, hold on. You spoke a lot here, and you're saying now this is the best explanation. Sure. It's not even the most plausible explanation. It's by definition the least plausible explanation. It can't be the best explanation because we don't have a demonstration of this ever happening. You're pointing to the formation of life and saying, have we ever observed life come from non-life? And no, not directly. We've never observed it. But then you're going on to say, well, okay, because of that reason, we can then posit this supernatural explanation. And then when we ask you, okay, can you give us an example of this supernatural explanation? You can't. So now you've just basically taken the problem that you're using to justify the supernatural, kicking it up to the supernatural, and then just simply ignoring it. This is the argument from incredulity.
So what we're saying is, because it's a genetic code, because it's a code. Now, if you reject that it's a code,
so James, we do have to move on. So I'm sorry, James, we do have to move on. Sure. It was an interesting conversation, but here's the thing, though. Okay, like when I said that it's the least plausible explanation that you're positing here, that's not an exaggeration. We have all of our examples, everything that happens around us, everything that we discover in science and in the world around us has a natural process behind it. It's like we have a gigantic jar that we can't see inside of. And every time we reach inside, we pull out a blue gumball, a blue gumball, a blue gumball. Now, that doesn't prove that the jar is full of blue gumballs. But because of the process of induction, we can reasonably conclude that the next gumball we pull out will be blue. And we have less justification to think that that next gumball will be red until it happens. And what you're trying to do here is basically say that, well, we despite the fact that we have all the scientific discovery and all the stuff that we know that turns out to be natural, we still have this question mark over here. And because we don't have a solid natural explanation for it, we can simply posit a supernatural explanation. That's like you saying, well, we don't know what the next gumball out of that jar is going to be, but I think it's going to be a red gumball. And you don't have justification for that. And on top of that, that red gumball you pull out is going to have the same problem because you're basically it's a colossal non-explanation for the mystery. And it's okay to simply say for right now it's a mystery, and we it's okay. We don't have to add in the stuff that we don't simply need. But anyway, we need to get going. But go ahead, James. Put in one or two more sentences. We'll give you the last word, but then we're going to move on. So go ahead. Want to be charitable?
Absolutely. I'll simply say that if you reject that the DNA code is a code, then the argument just has to stop there. I would say that because we understand it to be a code, and we understand it to be more complex than anything humans have produced, because we've only seen human intelligence produce a code, then we would say that whatever produced the genetic code would have to be higher than human. And then the last thing I would say is I didn't get to talking about asking you guys if you are vegan, if you're vegetarian. I had questions on objective morality and agency for Ian, but I was going to ask if it's okay, Ian, can I call in on your show and talk to you about those things
sure.
in the future?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Eric, for letting me come on here and give it a shot. You guys were very respectful, and it was awesome. It was awesome talking to you guys.
Yeah.
All right, James.
Thanks so much.
Yep. You have a nice night.
All right. Same to you.
All right. Cool. We got one caller left in the queue. Any closing thoughts on that one, Ian, before we
No,
move on?
I'm yeah.
I think it was we were starting to go in circles there at the end there. Yeah, it's like just I guess I don't really many comments either. I think we've beaten that horse thoroughly to death, and then beat the ghost of the horse, and he's probably
true.
True. Okay, let's bring in James number 2. Let's see here, James. Hello. How are you doing?
Well.
I'm not going to call you James.
Could you imagine it's the same guy? I'd lose my fucking mind. I'd crash out.
Just a voice modulator. That's some 4D chess there. If James were to do that. Tonight?
Doing well.
Yeah, doing good. My tank's running empty. This is like hour 6 for me, but I'm hanging in there. It's going good. Yeah, I'm having fun.
Oh, dude, hour 6. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's not preferable, but it's fine. I'm enjoying it. But anyway, James, according to the queue here, you're a theist. You're 32 years old, and you make the statement here: there is good reason to believe in God. You want to elaborate?
Yes, sir. So, yeah, absolutely. First off, howdy. Good talking to you guys. Howdy. Yes, sir. So there's 3 main points of contention in conjunction with one another that build an evidential case for the existence of a creator of the universe. So there is the cosmological evidence, the teleological evidence, and the moral evidence. We can break all 3 of those down. Let's start with the
cosmological evidence. I'm actually writing a philosophy paper about this exact topic. I'm getting supervision from a philosopher on this. So I have a lot to say about this. So please.
Amen, man. I would love to hear all you've got to say about it. That's crazy. So as far as cosmological evidence for the existence of a creator of the universe, so we know that it is scientifically impossible for something material to either be created by itself or be created by nothing. The definition of the word create is to bring into existence. If something exists, it had to have been brought into existence. Our universe
I grant that.
is material our universe is material and exists, as we know, because we are existing in it. So our material universe exists, therefore it had to have been brought into existence by something, right? So
that doesn't follow. You would need to presuppose that it was brought into existence in the first place. It could have always existed.
I haven't gotten to that yet. Let me lay out my argument, my friend. But yeah, so The widely accepted cosmological view is the Big Bang Theory, which asserts that the universe did in fact begin 13.8 billion years ago at the point of the Big Bang. All-time space matter. You're telling me that all-time space matter and energy did not
James, pump the brakes, man. You just said something that Ian needs to drill into.
Yep. So that's not true. There was a recent survey of physicists that found that the majority opinion among cosmologists, it was like, I think 70% of them, this is a survey done by Phil Halper, like just this last year. According to 70% of cosmologists, the Big Bang is a theory that states that the universe evolved from a hot, dense state that says nothing about being the beginning of time. It makes no claims to be the beginning of the universe. It just states that the universe was a hot, dense state,
the Big Bang theory definitely. I would say the Big Bang theory asserts that all time, space, matter, and energy.
You disagree with the majority of cosmologists. Why would I believe you over the majority of cosmologists?
Well, I'm saying that we have different information because I'm saying that the majority of cosmologists
assert that
13.8 billion years ago.
Yeah, wait, what's your source?
They assert that 13.8 billion.
James, can you for a moment?
People talking at once. I can't hear.
Yeah, it's okay. James, can you a moment fathom that perhaps you're representing the Big Bang incorrectly?
Potentially, but the way in which I understand the Big Bang, the assertion of the Big Bang is that there was. So, are you telling me that the universe always existed? Was that your assertion?
I'm saying that the Big Bang states nothing about being the beginning.
Okay, but my point is, do you concede that there is a beginning?
No. I think atheism is compatible with there being a first moment and there not being a first moment.
So, what is your stance, though, as an individual? Are you saying that the universe always existed?
I'm agnostic to it. Although I will say my theory of time makes the question.
I'm asking you. I know that you didn't speak to it. That's why I'm asking you. I know you didn't speak to it. That's why I'm asking you. So, what is your personal? So, what are we contending within this argument right now? Is your stance?
I can tell you a third time. I'm agnostic.
Yeah, we don't know.
No. That's okay. But that's what we're contending with, though. You have to. My claim is that there was a beginning to the universe.
What's the argument for that?
You have to contend. Okay, but what is your stance on that? We have to contend with that.
We reject the claim. We reject the claim you made, and we do not assert the opposite. We're agnostic to it. We don't know.
Yeah. If you have an argument for it, you can change our minds.
Well, again, our universe is material and exists.
Sure.
So again, if something is material and exists, it had to have been brought into existence.
Not
we see
granted.
this
Why?
observable within, but everything that exists within our universe operates that way. That's how matter operates. Like,
why would I grant that? For example, but energy can't be created or destroyed. So why would I think that it was created?
I'm not talking about energy. I'm talking about matter. Matter is not energy.
Yeah, matter is composed of like energy excitations and fields.
No, matter is anything that
comes into existence through transfers of energy.
Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space.
Wait, okay, you can say it as many times as you want.
Matter can be destroyed and converted into pure energy.
Whoa. Let's just calm down there. New matter can come into existence through transfers of energy from other matter. But it's always transferred. It's never created or destroyed. So why would I think it was created? You're telling me it was created. Why would I think it was created?
You said two different things, though. First you told me something about energy. Now we're talking about matter, though. We're contending with matter.
Yeah. Well, did you know energy is a property of matter? So if energy can't be created or destroyed, and energy is a property of matter, then matter likewise must be eternal.
I never made a claim about energy. I'm making a claim about
energy, James. I'm making a claim about energy.
I know, but what does that have to do with matter?
Okay.
I'm making a claim about how matter functions.
Energy is a property of matter. So if energy can't be created or destroyed, and it must be eternal, then matter must also be eternal.
What do you mean by energy is a what do you mean by that word property?
Property, like I don't know, something you can predicate of an entity. Like property is a pretty brute thing. You're not going to get a definition that you like.
Is your contention here that matter is comprised of energy in some sense?
It's that if you have energy, then it's going to be attached to matter.
But see, my claim and the definition of matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. That is
energy
literally
a
what
property
matter
of matter?
Again, it depends on you. It depends on what you mean by the word property in this context.
Does energy need to be connected to some sort of matter? You can Google this.
What do you mean
is
by
energy a
connected?
property of matter?
You're the one asking me. There's no more fair question that I can ask you than what it is.
I defined it for you, but the
asking.
definition went over your head. I can give you the definition that went over your head the first time for a second time. A property is something you predicate of an entity. Did that help?
Okay, but so you're asking me, is energy? Does matter? Does the existence of matter incumbent upon a function of energy?
Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm asking you if that's what you're asking me.
I'm asking, do you agree that energy is a property of matter?
But again,
that it describes a capacity of matter.
Well, again, matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. Matter can be destroyed and turned into pure energy, and that is how it. What is energy? Are you asking me because you don't know, or because like?
I'm trying to make sure we're on the same page because I've already tried to explain it to you, but you've rejected my explanation. So now I'll just ask you point blank, because if you reject my explanations, I know you don't have an answer to this question. So what's energy?
Well, no, I'm just trying to think about. I'm just trying to hammer down why we're not focusing. No, you're trying to direct the conversation away from matter. I'm talking about matter.
Energy is a property of matter.
Material.
I'm directing the conversation into you, right? Energy is a property of matter.
But is energy matter?
I'm not making that claim. It's a property of matter.
Good, but that's my claim. My claim is that energy and matter are two completely different things.
Is energy a property of matter? It's a yes or no question. Please stop dodging.
Your question is superfluous and has nothing to do with the claim I'm making.
Energy a property of? We're talking about matter. Is energy a property of matter?
Yep.
Stop dodging.
Yes, we are talking about matter.
And is energy a property of matter?
Can you illustrate to me what that has to do with what we're talking about?
Because if energy can't be
answer your
created or
question
destroyed,
if you illustrate to me what it has to do.
Matter must not come into existence. There you go. There's the demonstration.
But my claim was that, but we know that matter can be both created and destroyed.
Wait. Sorry. Can you summarize back to me what I just said?
We know that matter can be created and destroyed.
Whoa. Can you summarize back to me what I just said?
No, again, you just told me that we know that energy can neither be, you just said to me, if we know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, that somehow impacts how matter functions. I reject that completely.
What's the
because
bridge principle there?
But we know that matter can be created and destroyed. In fact, you can destroy matter and it becomes pure energy.
And what happens to the energy? Where does it go?
It stays in the universe. It can't.
Yes, exactly. It transfers to other fields. Precisely. It goes to other fields. It becomes different matter.
But it ceases to be matter. That's my whole point. It ceases to be matter. It becomes pure energy.
It becomes different matter.
No, it's pure energy. Energy. Do you agree that energy is not matter?
Field. Yeah, it's a
property. But do you agree that energy is not matter?
Do you agree that energy exists within fields?
Yeah. What do you mean by in fields? What does that mean?
Like quantum
what do you mean by the
fields.
Word fields there?
Do you agree that it exists in quantum fields?
Yes, but again.
Okay, cool. So then it transfers to different quantum fields and it becomes different particles.
Yes, but it's no longer matter. The matter was destroyed.
Well, but it's a different type of matter.
No, it's not. It's energy. Energy is not a type of.
Wait, what's the source? Wait. I want the source for that. I want the source for that one.
The source is the definition of matter, which is anything that has mass and takes up space. Energy does not take up space.
What am I asking for the source for? Do you remember?
Again, I'm giving you the definition of
what did I ask
the word
for the
matter
source for? You weren't listening.
You said my claim was that energy is not matter.
Okay. Does that disagree with anything that I say? Did I say that energy is matter?
But what you've said thus far, you're trying to make this connection
this guy can't engage for
between
the life of
energy and matter.
Okay, listen, I'm just going to get straight to the point. Do you think God was always creating, or do you think he began to create at some point?
I think God began to create. I think
God changes, so he's in time. Wait, so your God is in time?
No. You're directing the conversation away from my initial claim.
He went from not creating to creating.
My friend.
So you're God's in time.
You're straw manning.
Then you just committed yourself to the infinite temporal regress. That's brutal.
My friend, I didn't say this at all. You're straw manning.
Wait, sorry. I'll give an argument. You can tell me exactly what number of premise you disagree with. Premise 1, if God goes from not creating to creating, then God changes. Premise 2, if God changes, then God's in time.
You're straw manning, my friend. Let's deal with the cosmological evidence for the existence of the creator of the universe.
My contention is that there is premise 1, 2, or 3.
You're
out of breath
straw
from
manning,
the running that
and
you've been doing. You're sprinting away from the topic, and it's just going to get worse for you. Do you reject premise 1, 2, or 3?
No.
Or did you not listen to them?
Oh, my friend, you are. This is now a red herring.
How
many logical fallacies are we going to deal with? My friend, you're not engaging with what I was saying. My initial claim was that there is the existence.
1, 2, or 3.
You're cutting me off. I would prefer.
You've been cutting me off this entire time. I'm not going to take this from you. You've been cutting me off the whole time. Watch the replay. I'm not going to play nice with you now that you got cornered. Answer the question.
My premise.
Stop dodging. Dodge. Dodge.
My premise.
Dodge.
You want me to? I'm trying to answer your question. I'm trying to answer your question.
Dodge. Wait, say 1, 2, or 3.
Would you like an answer to your question?
Premise? Yeah, 1, 2, or 3.
Would you like an answer to your question?
Yeah. Start with 1, 2, or 3, or I'll interrupt you.
Okay. Whoa. Okay. My premise is that the universe had a beginning.
1, 2, or 3.
Let's engage with that.
The arguments.
The premise is the universe had a beginning.
Premise 1, 2, or 3 of the argument that I gave. I gave an argument that had 3 premises.
I'll play your game. I'll play your game. What are the 3 premises? What are the 3 premises?
If God begins to create, then God changes. If God changes, then God's in time. If God's in time, then time's eternal. Which premise do you disagree with?
So your first premise is if God begins, are you asserting that God begins to create? Is that an assertion or a question?
That's what you said. You said that you think God begins to create.
I did not say that.
You did.
We were talking over each other, so we couldn't hear what the other was saying. I never once said God began to create.
Does God begin to create, or is this act of creation eternal?
Say that again. I can't hear you.
Does God begin to create, or is this act of creation eternal?
Is the act of creation eternal?
Yeah, or does he begin to create?
So you're saying he's always been creating something?
Yeah, was he always creating, or did he begin to create at some point from not creating?
Again, my friend, this isn't a good faith discussion. You're not engaging with. You don't. We were talking about matter and energy, and then you got frazzled, and now we're talking about something different.
Answer the question.
Why do you not want to talk about matter and energy anymore?
Does God begin to create?
But why do you? I noticed that you moved away from matter and energy for a reason.
Why are you winded?
Why did you move away from matter and energy?
Are you winded from all the sprinting that you've been doing? Just answer the question. Does God always create?
Why did you move away from matter and energy?
Because we're disproving God directly.
Why did you move away from matter and energy?
Because you got refuted on the energy topic.
No,
and now
I demonstrated that matter is not energy. You told me that energy could neither be created nor destroyed. You told me that energy could neither be created nor destroyed.
Oh, yeah. He wants to scramble back to this. So instead of what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn the temperature up. Answer the question. Stop dodging. Does God always create, or does he begin to create at some point? I know you blundered earlier. You said that God began to create. And I know that that's a major fuck up.
No, I didn't.
Demonstrated
oh, my
to you.
goodness.
You
said that energy could neither be created nor destroyed. And I agreed, but I said matter can be created or destroyed.
There's going to be real tears streaming down your real human face in just a second.
Matter can be created. Matter can be destroyed. Matter can be created. Matter can be destroyed. Matter can be created. Matter can be destroyed.
Matter can't be created. Matter can't be created. He's literally fucking short-circuiting. Somebody poured water on him.
Matter
he doesn't know what
created.
to do, so now this is all that he has. All he can do is freak the fuck out.
You're not engaging because you're refusing. I noticed how your partner hasn't spoken up. I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Anything. Oh wait, tell me when you're done out.
Matter can be created. Matter can be destroyed.
He short-circuited again. Holy shit. Okay.
Do you think God was eternally
creating, or do you think that
is that what you want to engage with that?
Whoa. Let's just calm down there, mouth breather. No need to get upset. Does God begin to create at some point, or was he always creating?
I've not ad hominem you once, my friend. I've not
ad hominem you.
Why are we resulting to ad hominem
here? Yeah, I'm going to ad hom you.
Why are we resulted to that?
Because you're a scumbag.
Why?
So was God always creating, or does he begin to
For
create
what
at some
reason?
point?
Why are you getting all upset?
Because you're a dodger.
Why are you
You're like
upset?
a weasel. You're a weasel.
And you dodge our
unfortunately for
conversation
you,
about
it's
matter and
weasel
energy.
stomping day.
But do you not see that you did the same thing?
No, I don't see that.
Do you not see you did the same thing? Then why are we not talking about it right now?
For my claim. Because you're a
But why are we
scumbag
not
who
talking
couldn't
about matter
engage
and
with
energy
the source.
still?
Because you're a
No, but my
scumbag
friend,
who couldn't produce any sources for any of what you said.
Your mistake was you said that energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Correct.
I
Do you
said, yep,
disagree?
that's correct. Matter can, though. Matter
yes,
can.
I agree with that. But the energy is always transferred elsewhere.
Yeah, so let's go back to that.
Different
then.
matter.
Let's go back to that.
Yeah.
Matter
now that you got
can be
genuinely,
created.
you got like the wind knocked out of you on that previous topic. You got spawn killed on the Kalam.
No, my friend, you brought us to something we weren't talking about.
We weren't talking about the cosmological argument?
Yes,
we weren't talking about God creating?
matter and energy. We're talking about matter and energy.
Okay. Is energy a property of matter? Can you answer that question?
Yes, energy is a property of matter, but energy is not matter.
Sure. Wait, so then if energy always existed, where did it exist in?
But again, energy and matter do not function in the same way as we both concede and agree with.
Where does energy
within
exist?
the universe?
Where is it? Yes, but inside of what specifically?
Within the universe.
Instead of what specifically?
Wait, say that again. I couldn't hear you.
Instead of what? Does it exist in matter, perhaps?
Does energy exist in matter? Yes, but does that?
Sure.
That's like
if
saying,
energy
does
always
my
exists,
couch
then matter always exists.
But like okay, Ian, that's like saying, does my couch exist in my apartment? Yes, but my couch is not my apartment.
Yeah, I agree with that. So here's another syllogism for you. Premise 1, energy always existed. Premise 2, if energy exists, then it exists within matter. Therefore, matter must have always existed.
Does energy exclusively exist within matter?
Do you reject premise 1 or premise 2?
I'm asking you a question. Does energy exclusively, is your contention? But what are you asserting? Are you asserting that energy exclusively exists within matter?
I am asserting that energy is a property of matter.
But I'm asking you, do you think that energy exclusively exists within matter?
My understanding is that it can also exist as like radiation.
Okay, so it can exist outside of matter.
As radiation, something that's still traveling through space.
Okay, but again,
does it exclusively exist in space?
You concede. No, because you just told me it can exist within matter. What do you think?
The opposite, actually. You're not even tracking your own fumbling argument. You're not even fumbling your own argument correctly.
You just told me that you conceded that energy does not exclusively exist within matter. Yes or no?
Yeah, it can exist within radiation as well. Yeah, I agree with that. Also, it's not a concession.
Okay,
this has always been my view.
If energy,
so wait, to be clear, does radiation exist in space? Yes or no?
Are you asking me because you don't know the answer, or because you want to know if I know the answer?
Because I want to hear you say it, so we can get it on the board as a premise.
Okay, but is that your contention? Is your contention that radiation exists?
Here's a revised argument for you. So we're just going to run you down on this one, the same way we ran you down on the other one. Premise 1, energy always existed. Premise 2, if energy exists, it exists within space. Therefore, space always existed. Which premise would you disagree there with?
Wait, could you? I can't hear you very well.
He's short-circuiting. Holy shit!
Again, James, I think you heard him.
I legitimately can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can you please repeat that?
Premise 1, energy always existed. Premise 2, if energy exists, it exists within space. Therefore, space always existed.
Yeah, I disagree with the fact that both space and energy always existed. I said that at the onset. There was a beginning to both of them.
Energy be created or destroyed?
Can energy be created or destroyed? You said it could not.
Do you agree with that?
My contention. Do you
agree with that?
My contention is about matter.
Do you agree with that?
Is that objective fact of reality?
Yeah.
If it's an objective fact of reality, then of course I agree with it.
Okay, sure. So then you agree that energy always existed, so space-time always existed, so the universe always existed. GG.
No, my contention was about our universe, which is material in nature.
So, but you do agree that the universe, like space-time, always existed. You would agree with that?
Well, no. Space, time, matter, and energy are 4 different things.
Okay, so then you need to. Oh, well, I mean, you just conceded that energy always existed, and it always exists within space. So then space must have always existed, and space is inseparable from time. So time must have always existed.
Because premise 2 is if energy exists, it exists in space. So, like, do you reject that premise 2 or not?
Well, no, but again, you're discounting matter and time.
Do you reject that premise or not?
But the whole of the universe is those 4 things
James,
working in harmony.
James,
together.
we know this is very uncomfortable to deal with, but you accepted premise 1. Now we're asking, do you accept or reject premise 2? If energy exists, then it exists in space. Do you accept or reject that?
Again, is that an objective? If that is an objective, you're asking me a rhetorical question that you know the answer to, and I know the answer to.
It's not a rhetorical question at all.
You know the answer to it, then just say it.
I mean, James, for all premises, you either accept or reject the premise, right? Like for all premises, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
Okay, so premise 2, if energy exists, then it exists in space. That's a premise. Do you accept or reject it?
Well, again, are you asserting that energy exclusively exists within space?
The assertion of the premise is, if energy exists, then it exists in space. So sure. Accept or reject
exclusively, though. Exclusively.
Yes, exclusively, yes.
Well, let's look.
Google it.
Look it up.
Go for it.
Does energy exist exclusively in space?
Then, we'll find our answer. Says no, energy does not exclusively exist in space. It is a fundamental property of all physical objects and fields, wherever they are located, whether inside Earth's atmosphere, inside solid materials, or in the vast stretches of the cosmos.
In space, yeah. Those are all those things are in space.
But all right, then why did it say no?
It's getting confused. It's thinking that you're asking, does it literally exist like only in space and not in matter?
Yeah. James, I did the same Google, and you're reading the AI summary, which can be wrong. So you should probably look a little bit deeper than just the AI summary.
The AI gets confused. Maybe Google must energy exist in space. If you Google must energy exist in space, it'll say yeah.
All right, let's see. Must energy exist in space? Must energy exist exclusively in space?
Just in space. Must energy exist in space?
Yeah. All right, so now if this, yes, energy must exist within space and time because it is a property or attribute of physical systems rather than an independent substance floating in a non-existent void. In modern physics, energy requires a spatial framework to be localized, transferred, or measured.
Energy requires a spatial framework to do things, essentially. So premise 1 is energy always exists. We agree to that. And now premise 2 is if energy exists in space, then it must exist in space. And we just looked it up. And of course, we're not cosmologists or physicists, but we trust the Google result that we just got with the appropriate query gave us. Yeah. So now premise 2, do you accept or reject?
Well, this would then beg the question, though, does this mean that energy always exists in space once space began?
Space can't begin if energy always exists, and energy needs space to exist.
But does that necessarily does that mean that does that mean that because energy always exists, space always existed, or is it once we have space, then energy always existed within space?
Well, it sounds like energy must exist within space.
Because energy always exists.
Yes, but does that mean that doesn't necessarily mean that space had to have always existed? That just means that once space existed, energy was already there.
If energy must exist within space and energy has always existed, then space has always existed, because otherwise you'd run into a time where there's energy without space.
Is that impossible, though?
Apparently.
Because, again, you just used the word time. So that's the other. Again, there's 4 components that make up the universe.
Fine, we can say a state of
space,
affairs. There's some state of
matter, and
affairs where we have energy but no space.
Right.
We
So
can
again,
redescribe it as a state of affairs and remove the time word.
But you use the word like I think that's an important component to remember, because again, the 4 components that make up our universe are time, space, matter, and energy, all existing harmoniously at once. Is that, or correct me if I'm wrong?
There's like the fields there. Yeah, it's like the fields and then space time. All the fields are defined at points in space time.
So would you grant that that what we perceive the universe to be can most simply be defined as a harmonious relationship between time, space, matter, and energy?
No.
In simplest terms.
Nope. I'll say that the universe is the space-time manifold where there are quantum fields defined at every point.
Could you hash that out a little more?
Yeah, so we have these things called.
I'm not disputing. I just want to like.
Yeah. So we have space-time. It's like a 4-dimensional object. All the configurations of the universe exist, and they're stacked on top of each other in like a 4-dimensional object. And then we have these quantum fields. There's energy excitations at these various different points in the quantum field, and there's a value for the various quantum fields, like the electron field, the photon field. All these have different values at different points in space-time.
I'm sorry, say that again. You cut out for a second.
Yeah. So we have these quantum fields, we have these particles, these subatomic particles. They are energy excitations at specific points in these fields.
Okay. But so how does that come into play with what the composition of the universe is?
That the universe is composed, well, it depends on your view of space and time, but either you're going to hold that space and time are actual objects, and then the different quantum fields are defined at every point in space-time, and then that's what matter is. It's just excitations of these various fields. Or you're going to hold that they're not objects, and that all there is these fundamental particles, like these energy excitations within the quantum fields, and then you impose space onto that.
Okay, but then in this context, what are we defining an object or like to be? Because just based off of that question fields. Just based off of that explanation there, my contention would be that I don't necessarily think that time, space, matter, and energy. Like, do you mean an object like in a physical sense, like something tangible, or like?
Yeah, like energy excitations in these quantum fields.
But again, what does that mean in relation to the word object you used?
That what a particle is a specific excitation of energy in these fields.
Okay, but you used the word object like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, and then I gave you the definition. Are you like Googling? Is ChatGPT not helping you?
No, I'm not Googling. I'm just trying to, like, again.
Is there some reason why you've asked me the exact same question like 3 times in a row?
No, but I'm saying as pertaining to time, space, matter, and energy, you asked, it depends on whether or not you think those are objects.
Whether or not you think that they have some real ontology, whether or not you think that they're like fundamental, whether there's something they reduce to, or whether you don't think that there's something that they reduce to.
Well, that's because I was asking for you to clarify your question, because you said that depends on whether or not you think time, space, matter, and energy are objects. And then within the framework of that question, I'm asking you to clarify what you mean by the word object.
We could say that it's like a substance, like a sort of thing that is irreducible to further entities.
Okay, but would you attach a physical, like a tangible physical property to that?
Well, they're not tangible, but they are physical.
Okay, so within the framework of that, then I would say that I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that time, space, matter, and energy are exclusively objects or are even objects. I think
you don't need to take a stance on that.
But I think that But you asked it though. So why would you ask it if I don't take a stance on it?
Wait, sorry. What did I ask you?
When you were asking your question about all of this, you gave a caveat and you said, but that depends upon whether or not we view time, space,
So I didn't ask
matter, and
you
energy
this,
as objects.
to be clear. That's just like you misremembering. I didn't ask you what stance you took on this. Obviously, I don't think that you take a stance on relationalism versus substantivalism in the philosophy of time.
But then why bring it into the discussion?
Because it's relevant in terms of accounting for the universe. For what sort of thing you
so
think
it's relevant. So therefore, but if it's relevant, then we have to hash it out. No, if it's relevant,
that's for sure. Wait, are you done obfuscating? As your route ran its course, such that you're finally willing to let me ask you the question about whether God was always creating, or do you want to scramble away?
Ian, I'm sorry that we divulged into a heated discourse, but I noticed that every time I ask you to clarify what you are stating, you get frustrated. Why is that?
What's one clarifying question that you've asked that I haven't answered? Brutal.
No, but then you answer. But then
that's
you
kill. Wait,
again,
sorry, answer the question. Wait, answer the question. Wait.
I didn't say you didn't. I didn't say you didn't answer them. I didn't say you didn't answer them. I say you get frustrated about having to answer them.
Yeah, it's because
but then you get frustrated about having to answer
them. Weaseling away. Yeah, you're being a bit of a weasel right now.
I'm not.
Okay.
But again, this is debate 101. Defining terms is debate 101.
First of all, I'm not going to take debate advice
and defining context.
You're short-circuiting again. Tell me when you're done short-circuiting.
I'm not short-circuiting. This is what you do. Every time I ask you a question about clarification, you get frustrated. Why is that?
It's because you're using them to obfuscate. It's pretty obvious.
I'm not. I think it's important to hammer.
There's
no more fair question that I could ask you than what
all you can do at this point is cry and scold. You can say,
no,
I don't like your tone, Ian. Your tone upsets me, Ian.
I'm not saying.
I think that you're getting mad,
Ian.
Said that? Like, why can't you
when did I say that?
Substance? Just now, like literally just now.
I guess there's no fair question that I can ask anybody.
Well, yeah,
there's
you're
no
asking
fair question that I can ask
you're
anybody.
That I sound like frustrated.
Then what
it
is you mean by what you're saying?
Ian? Why do you sound frustrated? Yeah, it's like literally just this meta whining. Nobody gives a fuck about your crying. Get to the substance.
No, but I guess my point is there is no fairer question that I can ask you than what it is you mean by what you say. Do you concede that? Is that correct? Is that fair?
Depends how. Because if you ask me a ton of clarifying questions without making a point, that's obfuscation.
But in the instance that we just gave, when you yourself conceded that what you brought up was relevant.
What can I get a definition of instance?
Would you like one? Yes. I can provide you one.
I'd love a definition of instance.
In this particular context?
Yeah.
And are you asking me because you don't understand or because you want
literally
to
ask clarifying questions? I just asked further obfuscating questions.
Yeah.
So we have hold on, James. James, let's time out here. We got to wrap this up here pretty soon because we're past 8:00 and we got places to be.
Can we just get an answer to the question?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up.
Get an answer to the question that I just want to know: was God always creating, or does He begin to create?
Yes. Let's wrap this up.
Was God always creating, or does He begin to create?
Yeah. Was God always creating the universe, or does He begin to create the universe?
God always existed.
I didn't ask.
Yeah. The question's about His creation, His act of creation. Is it eternal, or did He begin to create?
Yeah.
But your question is the contention we're here is about the universe.
Ian is presenting you a true dichotomy. It has to be one or the other. So you need to choose one. It's okay to say I don't know.
I'm answering.
It's okay to say I don't know, but you need to choose one, or just say I don't know.
Well, saying I don't know wouldn't be choosing one. But so my contention is that the universe was created. I don't know about anything else that may or may not have been created.
Was God eternally creating the universe, or does He begin to create the universe?
Okay, but that's a different question then. That's different from creating or creating the universe.
That's what I'm asking about. It's the universe. That's the thing we're talking about. The universe. Was God always creating the universe, or does He begin to create the universe?
But if God's a creator, could we not conceive of something other than the universe that could have been created by Him?
Yeah, He totally could have created things before that, but was He always creating the universe, or does He begin to create it?
But I guess my point is, if we can conceive of things that are not the universe that could have been created by Him, that would not affect how we deal with the creation of the universe.
James, was God always creating, or was God not always creating?
And then he begins to create.
The universe or anything. The universe or anything.
Let's do the universe.
But if it's just the universe, that wouldn't, again, though, but do you see how one or the other would not affect one or the other? If he's a creator and he was always creating, but okay, if he's a creator and he was always creating something, then that would still be okay if the universe had a beginning.
Okay, wait, so, but does he begin to create the universe, or was he always creating the universe?
But what does that have to do with the state of the universe?
What is, okay, because here's the dilemma. If God begins to create the universe, then God changes from not creating the universe to creating the universe. If he changes
he's a creator,
and then that means that
but his
time is eternal. The alternative is that God was eternally creating the universe, in which case the universe is eternal. So either way, time is eternal.
But
there you go.
No, I don't. But again, that's like saying the Beatles are a rock band and they wrote rock songs. Were the Beatles always writing Abbey Road, or were they not? It's like, yeah, they wrote other stuff before Abbey Road, though, did they not?
What a simple question to answer.
No, but
James, did you just see how fast we answered that question? No problem. No, the Beatles were not always creating.
No, you're missing my point. You're missing my point. The Beatles, while they were the Beatles, correct? Our contention here is to deal with Abbey Road, right? We're talking about the creation of Abbey Road.
They were not always writing Abbey Road. They were not always writing it.
Yes, but they were always. But while they were functioning as the Beatles, they were always creating. Were they not?
They were always creating something as the Beatles when they were the Beatles, but they were not always creating Abbey Road.
So my contention is God is
God
a
always
creator.
Creating the universe? I didn't ask if God is a creator. Was God always creating the universe, or does he begin to?
But do you not understand my analogy? The Beatles.
No, the analogy literally exploded in your face.
No, you're misunderstanding my analogy.
We answered your analogy question so quickly; it was like kind of incredible.
Would you let me please hash
James,
it
I'm
out?
going to give you maybe 5 to 10 more dodges, and then we're going to have to move on.
I'm literally trying to directly answer your question.
That's dodge number one.
I'm trying to directly answer your question.
Always creating.
What though? The universe or something?
The universe.
God, my contention is that God is a creator.
The universe. Was he always creating the universe?
No, he was not always creating the universe.
Then he changes. Then he begins to create it. So he goes from not creating the universe to creating the universe.
No.
So he changes. So
he's still a creator, though.
So time's eternal.
Ian, you're not listening to me, though. Please let me. I would like to hash this out.
So he goes from I'm gonna hang up on him. This guy sucks.
James, goodbye.
Holy shit.
Lux is asking us very nicely to end it, but that is I do really like that argument you present, because you can see the alarm bells going off, because James knows that answering one way on this true dichotomy, his idea of a God is fucked. And if he answers the other way on this true dichotomy, his idea of a God is fucked. Yep. And it's that panic there that is so delicious. And you do this so well on your channel. Yeah,
man, every single time, seriously, he would get cornered, and then on the always creating or not always creating thing, and then you could hear it. He was like, "Let's go back to particles. Let's go back to molecules.
Get away from this. This is uncomfortable. Cognitive dissonance." Yeah,
you'd agree. Energy is not matter, right?
Yeah. But anyway, we do need to wrap up. Folks in the audience, if you like what you just saw, Ian does this on his channel multiple times a week. It's, again, go over there and subscribe. It's an excellent channel. Ian, tonight was a delight. It was really nice to hang out with you the first time. And hopefully we have more of these pair-ups in the future.
Absolutely.
This was amazing. So thank you so much. Folks in the audience, if you like this team up, go ahead and, thumbs up on the chat. Put some ones in the chat. I don't know. Refresh the page. Maybe the algorithm will think that we have another viewer. Who knows? I don't know. Everyone have a good night. Ian, you have a good night. Bye, folks.